my dears. I'm the Doctor. Ha! I just wanted to wish you all a very Merry Christmas. And as you can see, it is snowing in the TARDIS. K9, have you been at the thermostat?
Hark! For it's time for Type 40 Live, heralding our Christmas 2022 party. Yes, your live stream Doctor Who show materialising again, but this time cracker in hand, whatever time zone or time stream you're joining us from. We're ready to pull our end if you are yours. Welcome all to Type 40 Live, as always. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's King of the Geeks, and we're here again for content, conversation, and ho, ho, ho here on YouTube and Facebook, completely live in front of a chat full of our friends, fans, and companions, whether you've been naughty or nice. I think we've got our fair ideas about where most of you may sit on that side of the aisle, but we'll find out. We won't judge too harshly just yet. We've got a whole show to get into in podcast form too now, of course. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have we got a present for you here on our season finale and our big Christmas show, our third annual Christmas show. The Northern Lights, they're shining bright, and we've got some bright personalities, as always, to fill up the console room with on this edition of the show. Okay, and if you want to join into and have your say, as always, everybody over there on YouTube, the world's largest streaming platform, big audience filling up already. That's lovely to see. So everybody there, hello, hello. And over on Facebook, don't forget, you've got to hit that little blue link. Tell Facebook to tell StreamYard to tell us who you are. Then we can all get on the Christmas card list and trade our greetings, our thoughts, and our takes on everything that's coming up, all the little presents we've got under our tree for you to unwrap. Who's first? What should we do? What should we do first? Okay, I'm happy to say that it may be the climax of the season, but we've got a lot to cram in, and a panel. You're going to love this. A panel full of our companions. Who should we bring on first? Okay, well, you could say I'm the Paul Young. If this was the Band Aid video of Do They Know It's Christmas that we see every single Christmas, don't we? That classic promo video, I'd be very much the Paul Young. But does that make Simon Horton the Simon Le Bon? I think could you take that, Simon?
Yeah, I think I'm going to take that one. Definitely. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be the Simon Le Bon for this evening. Thank you for that. What a fantastic idea that we're all part of the Band-Aid video.
We are indeed. Merry Christmas, mate. How are you?
And Merry Christmas to you, and Merry Christmas to everybody out there. We love this show. I think we just spend 50 weeks of the year just looking forward to this show, don't we? It's just to
the big silly Christmas show. We do. So if we've got Paul Young, we've got Simon Le Bon. I think we need a George Michael, don't we? And although he's not wearing shades this time, I think Ian David Diaz could well be a shoo-in for that one. What do you reckon, Ian?
Yeah. Sorry, it's freezing.
Tonight, buddy.
It's freezing where I am, so I've got me
It's
coffee.
freezing everywhere. None of
Yeah,
us can put
it's
the
so
heat
cold.
on.
And
Cheers, my
yeah,
friend.
so yeah, no, cheers and Merry Christmas to everyone who's watching. I hope you guys have a good Christmas. Just in case I forget to say Happy Christmas, so there you go. Thanks for letting me on, Dan. Cheers, mate.
I've just been told that I remind Paul Murray of Captain Sensible. I'm really not. I'm not having that
Captain
one.
Sensible.
Thank you for that.
He's not a captain, and he's definitely
not
not
sensible.
sensible. No. So yeah, I think we're filling up nicely. We've got our Band-Aid assembling very, very nicely, but I think we need a couple of members of Bananarama. How about Charlotte Shields and starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham?
The worst thing
I
you can
wondered
call
what you was
them.
going to say then. I was waiting for Boy George and Bono.
I will. But who's who?
Good evening, ladies. How are you feeling, Charlotte? Because you haven't been very well, have you? Are you back on form?
I'm back on form. Just my coffee's just been really lovely and stubborn, so it's just tiny, like hanging on me.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same
She's
here.
back just in time for Christmas to play with us. And Sarah, it's been a few weeks. How have you been?
Yeah, I've missed you all. I'm getting there. I've still got a little bit of a cough. Usually when I laugh, so.
It's not going to be an issue at all, Starry, tonight, is
I
it?
know. So I may have to go off camera a minute. But yes, no, I'm feeling a lot
Quite
better.
understand.
Thank you. And I couldn't miss this.
We quite understand. Now, if you remember the Band-Aid video, have you seen that one, Sarah?
Mm-hmm.
Do they know?
Yeah.
Do they know it's
The
Christmas?
original, which is the best one.
Absolutely.
The original's the only one. Well, if you remember on that, even though Phil Collins doesn't sing on it, he is banging on the drums there, isn't he? Now, I couldn't get Phil Collins,
But
I have managed to get the nearest we could get to Joan Collins. It's the one, the only, the ever illustrious Mr. JT.
Hello!
Oh,
Here we are. It is the Christmas show. Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, yes, it is. Oh, no, it isn't. Oh, yes, it is. The Christmas show. How are you all? You all right?
All the best
Yeah.
for seeing you, mate.
I don't know why Bob come on this show.
Apple boys and girls. Yeah.
Why do I bother?
JT, next year you ought to come dressed up, really. You know.
Yeah, you really should put
We
the
should,
effort
yeah.
in next year.
Look, this
Oh, God.
just fell out the wardrobe earlier.
That's just your regular get-up, isn't it, for going down Asda's?
Well, actually, it is fun. I tend to go to garden centres in this, and I also tend to hang around, when there's students around in this going, ooh, I'm not going to use your personal pronouns. Yeah. Scares the hell out of them.
I was just about to do the speech. JT, I was just about to do the speech about how this is where the worlds of Doctor Who meets good old-fashioned common sense, but I think that's a sort of moot point really this week, isn't it?
This is Britain. This is Panto season.
Absolutely it is. You look splendiferous. And
Yes, I know.
yeah, if you agree, please like the video now. Let's face it, you're going to be having far too much fun, or you could maybe just be too drunk later on to remember. So please like the video now, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what we're doing next and when we're doing it. Now, you may notice that we've the six of us here, which is a good enough panel in itself. We have sent out invitations to other people, to other folks that we know, but several of them are at large all over the world, and we have had a signal come back. This is more like Live Aid actually now than Band-Aid. If you remember, they were doing that thing where half of Live Aid took place in London, and the other half took place in Philadelphia, wasn't it, in America?
Yeah, Philadelphia.
Phil.
Which
We're
way?
we're about to
I'm
go.
Simon Le Bon, I definitely need to be in Philadelphia, and I'm sure it's probably warmer than it is here. That's for sure in Philadelphia at the moment.
Well, I'm happy to say we're about to go transatlantic with the nearest that we could get to. I was going to say Madonna then, but that's not very fair. I'm far, far more pleased to see the one, the only, all the way from the Big Apple, Shah.
I made it. Can you believe it?
Hey.
You're in New
Merry
York.
Christmas, everyone. Oh, it's very echoey in here.
What are you doing in New York?
Yes.
The toilet.
Oh, this is the weirdest toilet you'll ever see, right? Oh my God.
Merry
you're
Christmas,
all
Shah.
the
We're so happy to have you with us.
What
Oh,
are you
happy to
doing
be
in
here.
New York?
Why not? I watched it actually, that airport scene, and I saw it, and I thought, oh, just go. Why not?
Good for you.
You see
favourite
Spider-Man,
city in
yeah?
the world.
I've not, but I've seen the Daily Bugle, so I'm very, very
Ah,
happy.
cool.
We've got so much to get into. I'm really pleased you could be part of this for however long. Hope the signal holds up.
Yeah.
A big Merry Christmas to everybody who's joined us already. It may be cold outside, but we'll keep you warm here on YouTube and Facebook with a show that's as hot as one of Millie Gibson's gym selfies. I think you know what I mean. And there's so much to get into as we go along. Let's go and check in with the live chat over on YouTube and Facebook and see who's joined us already, shall we? Oh, yes, we've got early doors here for Derek McManus. Good evening, all. Hope everyone is well today. Well,
Wrong question with us.
as well as we'll ever be, I think, is the answer to that one. Crimpling Doubloon says, Merry Christmas, shitmates there, JT. What'd you make of that? Wouldn't have been the same without him, would it?
It wouldn't be the same with about this Doubloon, would it?
The time scales. That's our friend Greg, isn't it? He says, I've got a feeling this is going to be insanely fun. I hope we haven't peaked early for you, my friend. Hold tight, we've got a lot to get into.
Standing it all the way.
Yes, Sarah got one from you here. Says, yes, poor Dan, that's me, is feeling under the weather. Yes, I'm powering through, everybody. The power of the Doctor. Heaven knows what that was all about a few weeks ago on the telly, but I'm feeling the power right now. And yeah, I'm powering through. But please, yeah, just as she says, what would cheer me up enormously would be if you hit the like button and started sharing and subscribing to Type 40 Live and the Spacebook channel. Peter Harrington. Absolutely. Why not? We never do that on this show. Why not at
Don't
Christmas?
accept any substitutes who like to watch us and copy us. Try copying my home.
I don't think
I see you. Yes, I'm watching you. What you're doing. Yes, you know who you are.
Naming no names. Good day and good King Wenceslas, all from Peter Harrington. Cheers, Peter.
Cheers, Peter.
Great to have you back. Merry Christmas. Hello, all to Carol Jude. Hello, Carol. Merry Christmas to you too.
And thank you for the New York tips, Carol. Really appreciate it.
Ooh. She's giving you a few tips about where to go, where to eat, all that kind of thing.
She has indeed, yeah.
You look like you're in a sort of a New York loft apartment there.
You do.
Looks like a pool, snooker cues behind you. You're in a pub.
I wish. I've not had a single drop of alcohol since I've been here. How disgusting.
You'd be very lucky in New York.
Who are you and what have you done with Shaw? Good evening, everyone, says John Yulden.
Hello,
John.
Got one from the Darren Zone here too. Says, festive salutations, one and all. Darren,
that's very
Merry Christmas to you and the lovely Wendy. Of course, who just happens to be here too. Happy Christmas, Spacebookers. Happy Christmas, Wendy.
Hello, Wendy.
Oh, so good to see so many of you here. God, lots. The chat is as jumping as JT's milkman will be when he catches him if he has to go to the door in the morning.
You remind me, JT, very much of Mystic Meg from the old lottery shows.
Oh, really?
Gary Brown, as I said, JT has gone for it. He certainly has, and he's got it by all means.
You know me, Gary. Yes. Isn't it amazing? It only seems like yesterday we were doing the last Christmas show, doesn't it?
It does.
I like this one from the Time Scouts that says it wouldn't be Christmas without Satan. He's Maleficent. He's not
Maleficent. One of my role models, Maleficent.
Hi, Simon.
He's very misunderstood.
Well, yeah, well, JT, you've got horns, but I've got Halo, look. So
Well, somebody has
Bite my
to
apple.
be a hero
Sorry.
star.
Bite my apple. Or nibble it.
Sorry, Charlotte, what was that one?
I was gonna say somebody has to be the hero in the panto or the nice princess.
yeah.
So
I would only do Panto Charlotte, if they actually let me do the baddie. And it would definitely be
I can't see you as a good guy, JT.
Oh, no, boring. Boring.
All I remember about Live Aid is Queen, says Vanessa. That's a correct answer, I think. And Peter says, what? No, Paul Young. No, you missed it. I'm Paul Young. I just haven't got the mullet. The mullet is under my hat, my friend. That's the difference. David Aston says, hello. Hello, David.
Hello,
Man of few words, but Merry Christmas nonetheless. And Sfila Betkin, the rabbi from another planet, is here with a hey there. Merry Christmas. Back to the rabbi. No, but we have it on good authority that the water is quite cool there. The air is breathable, and they deliver absolutely everything that he could ever need or want. Like Blue Light Box sets.
Mainly Big Finish, I think.
Yes.
Paul Murray says she's in the TARDIS, judging by the brickwork. At you, Shah.
My very own.
Circa 1977.
Could
That's where I feel like I am, to be honest, at the minute. But
Is it cold over there, Shah?
oh, it's freezing. It's
Is it really?
-2 at the minute.
No,
And
it's
it's
-8
raining.
here. It's -8.
No.
-4 where I've been.
I look like Sylvester at the minute. I've got that many thermals on.
Yes, get yourself layered up. A bit like Grand Moff Miranda. She's watching, says it's going to be fun. Yay!
Hopefully.
It absolutely is. What a lovely looking group on screen. Thank you, Darren M. You'll be at the top of the Christmas card list. And morning all from Java Bean.
Good
Our
morning.
friend from down under there.
Java Bean, good morning.
Good stuff. Hello again from David. I told you they'd be drinking, didn't I?
Yeah.
Bottoms
Somebody's
up,
already on
David.
the sherry, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's not me.
Excellent. Keep it coming. We've got a lot to get into, including things that we've got to pick up on that we've spoken about before. I mean, first of all, we have the new TARDIS team. Whether it's going to stay at 2, we're not quite sure. Whether Millie and Ncuti are all that are going to be crewing the TARDIS for Series 14 when Doctor Who returns in 2023. We were talking about this last week, and we had that sneaky peek, didn't we, at the inside of the TARDIS, those naughty pictures that were snapped and the video that was taken. You went on the show last week, Sarah, but did you catch that?
I did, yeah. So I was watching, and I was very excited. Again, just reiterating what everybody else was saying, it feels like it's the best of both worlds, and if it stays white and bright, but it's still got that feel of the old 2005 console that I know not everybody likes on this panel, because that was my first. I adore that coral interior, but yeah, this is just looks.
It was rubbish.
Oh, just
Ian's still unconvinced after 15 years.
yes. It's exciting. Of course, you have to have a sneak peek. It's irresistible.
How about you, Shah? What did you make of this? Did you see these pictures last week?
I did, but it doesn't matter to me. I want to see it in action. When I see it live on my screen and I see a beautiful production, I'll see it there. And
It's like a glass of milk on top of that, doesn't it? Can you see it? It's like a glass of milk.
So that is a production sketch that has also been leaked. We looked at this last week, didn't we? And I think we were all a little bit agog at seeing anything from the new series. However we feel about it, we all just want to see and know more, don't we, JT? We're hungry.
I think we all are hungry, and it's nice to be hungry again, isn't it? So, but it's interesting to see that a lot of the pictures that leaked have, of course, been sourced and now taken away, with various people saying, being told, no, we'll sue you, or we'll have legal rights on you and stuff. That's a hell of a lot to me there. So hold on, let's just make sure the phone doesn't go. Everybody watch your phones in case anybody's going to.
Miranda likes it. She said, I like the new interior. It's very old school like. And our mate Keith Bradbury over there from North America, I've got to get that right, said Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas from your local Doctor Who store. Local to Shah.
Where do you go?
Miles away from New York. He's over the other side of the country, isn't he?
No. But I mean, in general, where if anyone's got any tips, so I can grab some.
Right. Okay.
That'd be lovely.
Grab breakfast in the TikTok.
Who's File 13?
I've got a tip for you. Don't eat the yellow snow. No, don't eat that. Anyway, don't bend over in the shore. Anyway, so. We have, so we were very excited about those pictures last week, and so were fan artists Dale Smith and Harry Amat. Now, I've got to get those names right, because they took those images, those sneaky images and footage that had been taken last week, and they have gone to their creative suites, and they've imagined what it may look like a few steps along, so a little closer to what we may get on screen. And this is what the two guys have come up with. Feast your eyes on where they think it's going for Series 14 with the full TARDIS console.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Isn't it gorgeous?
That's so pretty.
I hope it's like that, but you know, you never know. I love the computer screen on the right there. That's fantastic. But I hope it's like that because everybody wants it to look like the classic, that color.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I'm going to be the voice of dissent on that. I don't like that. I really.
Of course he doesn't. You've changed the TARDIS.
I don't like the roundiness of it. It needs to be more angular. It all looks very clinical. I don't know. It's not.
I don't know.
How it looks.
I believe, Simon, that at the moment, it does look a little bit like Cerebro from the X-Men movies.
Yeah.
But how I think it could go is because it's so big. JT, we talked about this, didn't we? These stages at Bad Wolf Studios are huge compared to the spaces they've had to play in before. Now, I see this, and I'm sure this is a fairly accurate representation of where it will go. That's like Pearl Eyes look. I'm really feeling this. But I think that they all that extra space that they've got to play with, they're going to use that to augment this set, not just with jukeboxes and maybe hat stands and things like that, like we saw in the Capaldi era, but I think they may digitally augment it as well with screens and readouts and holograms and all manner of things. I think they've got a lot of room to play in there and make it feel like a real full domain. And this is a blank canvas. That's what I think. And the lighting could also change too. Is that convincing anybody?
Yeah. I mean, I first of all, I love this piece of artwork. I mean, look at the depth to this and the way they've done it. I mean, I've said before, I wouldn't know where to start with anything like this, but look at those rondels on the floor and everything like that. I mean, it's just gorgeous. And again, I agree with you, Dan. I think it could go anywhere. And with the technology they've got now, it could be more that the console room is going to be far more depending on the story than we've seen before. But I think that rendition is wonderful, absolutely gorgeous.
It might the top bit might open like they did in the movie, when he was looking up and the bars for the space and stuff like that. So it might open,
there has been rumors that they possibly got access to like Disney Mandalorian tech, is what was floated before. Even Disney Plus got mentioned as it being in the picture. So I'd be very surprised.
Volume, don't they, Charlotte?
Yeah. I'd be very surprised if what you're talking about isn't what Disney could possibly be giving tech-wise a little bit on their end. And I agree with you. I think it would look nice if they're sort of being able to change bits of the colour. Because I can remember in The Doctor's Wife how different Matt's TARDIS looked because they just changed the colour scheme.
Yeah, that was light.
And it went green and it looked like a completely different TARDIS almost. So we do know that colour can make such an impact. So they have the tech, like I've got a feeling they possibly could be getting from Disney. That could do a lot for that sort of design.
So am I the only one that doesn't like it?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Does nobody in the chat know? Jack
Never mind, mate. We love you just as you are.
Jack Thursby doesn't like it, and there's somebody else that didn't like it. I think Carol G didn't like it.
You see it on screen, but it's filmed.
Yeah. There's got to be, change. I mean, if Doctor Who's going to go forward, it's got to evolve. Yeah. As JT.
We've got a comment here from Carol Jude who says the TARDIS to me is such an animated thing. It's always odd to see a regular photo where it's not blinking and making noise and feel alive. I think is what you're getting at there. Garbage agrees with Shah. There's a first, Shah. He says, I was not impressed by those pics, but I bet when it's up and running, that TARDIS console room will be outstanding. So he's placing some faith there.
It doesn't matter what they do. People can complain anyway. So do you know what I mean? So, but I think it looks fine. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
I am as well.
There's lots in the chat that don't like it.
Yeah, I'm sure of
one
it.
One of the things that I have a problem with is we all keep saying about wow, it's massive. Well, massive isn't necessarily good. And at the moment, it just looks to me like some vast, soulless, heartless place. It looks very cold, very clinical, very unwelcoming. I just don't like it. Sorry.
I don't like it.
Impression though, it's not the actual thing. We haven't seen the actual thing.
No, I know. I'm just talking.
We don't know how they're furnishing it, so we've got to keep an open mind.
I'm talking purely about the rendition as we're looking at it.
It looks very big when there's no bugger stood in it. But if you look at the console and think about what the average person could the average height compared to it's still big. It's bigger than the sets we've been used to before. But I think it could depend on how they feel. Like I say, this is the blank canvas. I'm convinced of that.
Do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the design for the film. What's that film? What is it? Oh, frick! It's gone out of my head now. I'm so old. Oh, carry on, guys. Carry on.
We'll come back to Ian later on. Give him a nudge.
Might help.
Kelly Lynch in the chat. Kelly Lynch in the chat says it for me, and this is the kind of phrase I'm looking for. It has zero personality. That's how I feel, Kelly. It has zero personality.
We don't even know what it looks like when it's moving and stuff. It might have a lot of personality.
I know, but all we're doing is we're talking about
exactly.
CGI rendition.
It's just design. Yeah. Gary Browser says it's like a massive Connect 4.
Let's put one of those things in.
Aidan McGear. Hi, Aidan. Merry Christmas. Says, I like the choice in blue. It could do with a little more colour. Stephanie Barrett says she loves it. And James A. Fitzpatrick says, a futuristic TARDIS interior instead of antique looking. That is that isn't a step back to looking futuristic, back to because the 1963 TARDIS was supposed to look futuristic, wasn't it? And whereas Ian, the whole steampunk thing, you've never felt that, have you? That's never really worked for you.
I did like the movie version. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the movie. I was going to say that design looks like. If you look at Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the movie, it's very much in the vein of that design, kind of. So. Look, I'm all for change, and if it makes the show better, let's face it, right? They want to try and get a global audience, and they're trying to make everything bigger now, So, good luck to them. That's all I can say. As long as the show's good, I'm there. But if the show's rubbish, obviously I'm gone. So.
Good luck to them. Vanessa Law says that I'm with Simon a little too much, I think. And David Ashton, who seems to have sobered up. Hi, David. Says, finally, we get a console room which truly lives up to the idea of the TARDIS being basically unending in size. Perhaps, yeah.
That's just one of the rooms, though, isn't it? Because the TARDIS has many control rooms, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I so hope we actually get a proper story at some point in the new run of his, like a proper exploration of the TARDIS. I've always wanted that.
Yeah, I missed the odd story where the Doctor's just walking down the old corridor or something, just to show that the TARDIS is more than just one set. And they used to do that quite a fair bit in the old in the proper Doctor Who. But I miss those days where the story would start and he's messing around with some open rondel somewhere or whatever. It was lovely.
Yeah, I like that as well. Raymond Williams, I can give him the final word on this, I think, says it's like an upmarket dentist's clinic. But we have to say thank you to Harry and Dale there for this work. I think it's beautiful. Well done. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on whatever you guys are turning your hands to next. I think that's a great representation of those pictures we saw last week, and who knows how close it may be to the end result of where Shooty Gatwa's Doctor, and Millie Gibson's Ruby could be calling home for however long they're on the show. Speaking of home, I want to say as well, I meant to say this last week, but Millie Gibson, she's moved to Cardiff and she shared these pictures there. That's Millie's bouquet of flowers that she was greeted to in her new flat there that she moved into around a week and a half ago. Looks like she's taken her pet there with her too. So she's there in Cardiff. No. And there's a lovely bunch of flowers and a welcome card there from the crew at Bad Wolf Studios. So, it's all slotting into place. And they're out. They've been filming this week, haven't they? Have you heard about this, Simon? They're out on location. They're filming it somewhere. Apparently so.
Oh, no, it's all past me, but then I don't go on social media. So
it's actually quite clever because it's all very top secret at the moment. No one seems to be able to find out where they are.
Seen much of anything, have they? But Doctor Who does return in 2023 and we'll be there every step of the way for the 14th Doctor and the 15th Doctor Revelation. So I hope you're going to join us for all of that. Yes. Okay, and talking about revelations, later on in the show, we're going to be revealing something of our own. And no, that's not JT's not going to be opening the cloak. It's going to be, we're going to be revealing the identity of the Type 40 Live Doctor Who Face of 2022. And this is a follow-up from the item that we started on Doctor Who Day. Yes, the call went out. We've been running polls, and a winner has been decided upon. We're going to be revealing that later on in the show, as well as a whole cornucopia of other items for the discerning Doctor Who fan. So yeah, you know what you've got to do, don't you? You've got to. What have they got to do? What have they got to do?
Click the buttons. Click the buttons. Like and subscribe. Click the buttons. Click the buttons. Like and subscribe.
I feel like some mashed potato now for some reason.
And thanks, much love and Merry Christmas to JJ and everybody at Avenue Who. There'll be more from them a little bit later on. A few weeks ago, we did a deep dive, didn't we, on the classic Doctor Who 20th anniversary story, The Five Doctors. We had a blast on that show. I think we could have kept going for another couple of hours. Couldn't we, Simon?
I think we could still be here, to be honest. A couple of weeks later.
Brilliant. It's brilliant.
We had a brilliant time, didn't we? But the things we didn't have time for, and I thought it wouldn't be right to leave 22 behind us without showcasing this, because we have a lovely audience out there who send in so many things, exclusive bits and bobs, sound and pics. And in this instance, this lot comes from Andy Brown. Andy sent us a lot of pictures that he's taken himself. He's been tracking down the actual locations that were used in the classic Doctor Who story, The Five Doctors. And he sent us a whole stack of them here. So we've put them to a slideshow, and we're going to marvel at the locations now and then. So thanks again, Andy. Check this out, everybody.
Magic.
As if by magic, we're going to be transported now to Langthrolan, where they filmed the Eye of Orion scenes.
Brilliant.
Is he wearing jeans, or is that just a complete tattoo?
Short side, he's got tats there.
Right.
He's big on the old tattoos there, so that's where he's been. But he travels the length and breadth, tracking down the actual locations that are used in the story. And it seems that the last nearly 40 years, time seems to have been quite kind to these locations, JT, doesn't it?
It's absolutely amazing, and I hope Andy's watching. So hi, Andy, because when you look at all this, it's as though it was done a few months ago, isn't it, really? I just think it's fascinating when you look at these things and you can see how they were before and how they are now, and how many years is it since that? I hate to think, but wow, isn't it fantastic?
39.
I didn't want to know. Thank you.
All that.
You should be careful. You see that green triangle or big black triangle trying to get in.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh yeah. He's been to the bus stop that Sarah Jane Smith was taken from there, and very bravely stands in that exact same spot. I wonder whoever lives at that house could be wondering what's going on there. I
was going to say that. I was like, they must be thinking, why is a random bloke outside my house taking pictures?
And some of this was filmed at Ealing Television Studios. Some of those sequences, Unit HQ there, I think that was a BBC property, wasn't it? They doubled up a couple of times. It was a training facility or something there. And yeah, he's been back to those locations too. They seem very well kept if paved over. But don't know if I prefer it now to then.
Yeah, it looks nice.
It looks very similar to how it did.
Yeah,
to be honest.
It does, doesn't it? But a fantastic selection of photos, and yeah, all our gratitude to Andy.
Brilliant.
And he travels all over the country tracking down locations for Carry On movies and all sorts of things like that. And
excellent.
I'm going to say it amazes me when people do this, because it's something that I often have a mind to do myself, but I'm too lazy. I'm going to be honest. It's a good job we've got people like Andy to do it for us, isn't it, Sean?
Absolutely. I've got my one because I'm from Angels of Manhattan, and that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
So where are you going? Where are you going tomorrow?
Well, I've got Statue of Liberty tonight. I'm going there tonight, so I'll blink rapidly and see if she turns into a weeping angel, even though it's ridiculous. And then tomorrow I'm going to Central Park, so I'll be able to see those locations where Matt and
wrap up warm.
Pardon?
You should wrap up warm, especially if you're going to Liberty Island. Yeah, it's cold.
Horrendous tomorrow. Yeah. It's actually snowing on Saturday, so hopefully we'll get a white Christmas as well. Anyway, that's my plan. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I went on a tangent, as always.
We have more Christmas greetings in the live chat. Of course, we have. Simon Ashley says, "Wow, what a trip down memory lane." We've got lots of thanks here to you, and if you are watching, lovely thanks from Paul Murray and one from Crimpling Doubloon. Grand Moff Miranda said some of those areas are so cool. And lots of affection too for the Five Doctors. Every time we mention the Five Doctors, we get lots of this from Crimpling and John. Keith Bradbury says, "Oh look, it's another Doctor Who fan on the landing, Charlotte." And David Ashton says, "Wow, that is amazing. Doctor Who fans are a wonderful group. So if they wanted to remake it, they could use those locations." Well, they could, I suppose.
By the way, it's David Aston. He's already commented in the thread to say it's David Aston, not Ashton. So just be careful.
Do I keep mispronouncing it? No, I
you
thought
keep saying Aston.
I'm sorry, David. I thought I could have sworn it's probably my cold. I've got a terrible cold, so I'm saying Aston, but it's coming out as Ashton. Shah, while you're in New York, you could visit the Pandorica, the Doctor Who themed restaurant at 165 Main Street, Beacon, New York.
You've got it. Bear with me. Okay.
She's on it. She's on the case. Keith advises, though, please don't get mugged. No,
I'll do my very best. Don't get mugged.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I won't do
and
that.
From one location to another, I we like pretty pictures on this show. I wanted to share with you this. We're all for pretty pictures and for colorizations, and we have this one. This is one of the latest by Clayton Hickman. A colorized shot there from the very first Doctor Who story, Simon. That's the tribe of Gum there on their home territory, but it's been invaded by the TARDIS, and we get to see the gantry and the screen all around at Lime Grove there, so it breaks the spell a little.
Looks like his trousers is down, doesn't it? Doesn't
it? Toilet roll.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a brilliant photo. I've never even seen the photo, let alone seen it colorized. Is that a newly discovered photo?
No, that one's been around a while.
Okay, I've never seen that before.
I hadn't seen it before either, Simon, so I was fascinated by this series. I mean, the cavemen do they do look. Can we stop yet? Is it time for the break? Time for a break yet? The tribe of
they didn't have the easiest time with them costumes, though, did they? So they couldn't wait to get out.
No, they were full of fleas, weren't they? They were full of fleas.
But I felt it was only right because I thought that looked sort of wintry as well.
Certainly does. It looks like
it does.
But this image is just one of many that you can find on Clayton Hickman's annual Doctor Who advent calendar over on Twitter. There are so many pretty pictures on there. It's impossible to cherry pick to bring them to the show. So I'd rather just say, everybody, give yourselves a visual treat. Head over to Twitter. It's practically worth opening an account just to follow Clayton. His incredible colorization work on some pictures that I've seen before, but plenty that I haven't either, Simon. And Clayton goes into them. And we've seen these colorizations on this show before. And seeing really is believing.
Mm-hmm. And I just going off on a slight tangent here, I can notice that Paul Murray has mentioned in the chat, please don't call it 100,000 BC. Don't worry, Paul, we won't. Not on this show. It's an unearthly child, and it always will be. Just the same as the first Dalek stories, the Daleks, not the mutants. DWM, get your act together. Stop this. Call them by the proper titles. Goodness sakes. Drives me mad. Thank you. Rant over.
Keith Bradbury says it looks like a half-scale TARDIS to make it look further away. I think they only had one TARDIS prop back in those days, didn't they, JT?
Only one.
Only one. Definitely full size.
They only had one.
Lots of appreciation for the colorization. But there's other pretty pictures, of course, coming up later on. We love our pretty pictures here on this show. And this one I thought was particularly pretty. Beautiful painting. In a Christmas jumper, there's the 12th Doctor, Sarah, which isn't dissimilar to your wardrobe this evening, is it?
Oh, yeah, as well, yeah. Look, I know, and Charlotte's not wearing hers. It's the snowflake booby T-shirt from shop.
I'm so sorry. I forgot to pack it. I didn't think this was going to happen. I'll be honest with you. I wasn't planning on this, but I didn't bring my snowflake nipple T-shirt.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, it's a T-shirt. Look, I'm right next to the radiator.
It's lovely. It suits you a lot more than it does me.
We'll just give it its proper name. It's one of the Christmas T-shirts available from the whoshop.com. Exclusive to the Who Shop. It's nothing else. That's the name of it.
Stop talking about nipples, everybody.
It's outrageous.
Yeah, but this is type 40, JT.
So don't get Dan started.
Hey, Alex.
Not get Dan started.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry, Alex.
It's lovely. It's a lovely, very comfortable, good sizing.
Machine washable.
Yeah, yes, I'm delighted with it. Yeah.
Yay,
They're available
Capaldi!
now.
A lovely picture, says Tony L. My only regret is that I don't recognise that signature, and I can't track down the artist behind this. If this is your work, or if you know whose work this is, please get in touch with us, Type 40 Live, through our Twitter and Instagram. And we'll credit you, and you can come and chat to us about it. We'd love to see some more of your work too. But I thought that really conjures up the spirit there of the 12th Doctor and Clara's relationship. And you've got even the Doctor's ring and canine on his little mug there too.
I love it. It reminds me of one of those 1960s film posters that you get. I think that I love that so much.
Yeah.
Kooky, slightly kooky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simon Ashley says this is a family show. It depends what kind of family you've got, doesn't it, Sarah?
It's not.
Speaking of family, though, it's delightful to have so many of our regular panelists, our brothers and sisters in fandom, here tonight. Of course it is. But there's always one, as with every family, who can't make it. The black sheep, the rogue. Somebody's gone rogue. And he was very nearly here. He's been double booked in the end, but sadly Barnaby Jago was called away through time and space at the very last minute. But it's probably for the best, because I'm about to embarrass Barnaby Jago quite a lot, because I don't know if you've seen it this week, because Barnaby, our friend, our panelist, is also an actor and a voice artist. And he's long harboured the ambition, as you can imagine, to venture into the Whoniverse for real. And finally, we got the news this week that it's happened. So you can hear Barnaby Jago now on the Big Finish release, Doctor Who, the 8th Doctor Adventures Connections. It's just been released, available exclusively to buy from bigfinish.com. That's until the end of January before it goes on general sale. And this features the Doctor and his two companions, Liv and Helen, and they're out there in the universe picking up missing pieces and finding lost connections, it says here on the blurb. And it brings them into contact with shifty Time Lord Drax, now played by Shane Ritchie, believe it or not. Wow. And they are haunted by past loves on a space station before Helen encounters somebody she believed long gone. Now, our Barnaby, he plays a character called Albie Sinclair in this one, Ian.
Oh, what a surprise. Albie Sinclair. What a surprise. I wonder if he gets killed. If he gets killed, be like, oh no, don't kill me, please. Don't kill me.
Even if he was here, could he? He plays Albie in a story called Albie's Angels, written by the writer Roy Gill. And this is the general blurb on that. It says, when the Doctor and friends hunt down time anomalies in the 2020s Soho, Helen steps into the past and meets the brother she thought she lost forever. So I think that could be who our Barnaby's playing. I suppose we'll have to download it or pre-order the CD or whatever else at bigfinish.com to find out for certain. But Barnaby does assure us he'll be back on the show as soon as time and space allows. The rest of the cast is made up of the likes of Nina Wadia, Hugh Ross, Jeff Rawl, Nicola Walker, Hattie Morahan, and Paul McGann, whoever they are. Nobody really cares about them, let's face it. All we really care about is Barnaby Jago there,
that's
playing
right.
Albie Sinclair at last there for Big Finish.
Barnaby.
Yes, well done.
Well done, mate. Well done.
And lots of comments in support of our Barnaby too. What's it all about, Albie? Says Gary Akers. Tony L says that's brilliant news. Again, congratulations, Barnaby, living the dream. Grand Moff Miranda says, great to see he's been on Big Finish. Well done, Barnaby, says Doc Martin. Congratulations from Simon Ashley, and a well done from the Department of Wendology. And that is about as official as it can possibly get. Keep that coming. And yes, stay tuned. Stay tuned for more of Barnaby's adventures in time and space. He's going to come and tell us all about it. But you can get that now at bigfinish.com, and general release in January. Wonderful, wonderful news, I thought. So he's here in one form or another after all. Right, what's to get into next? As always on our Christmas show, we like to tease and test you all, don't we? With probing questions, with a Christmassy quiz, because that's what Christmas is all about, isn't it, Shah? You gather around with family, extended family or friends, and you play silly games, you do silly dances, you probably say things that the rest of the year you would think twice about, but for some reason at Christmas, loose lips, that sort of happens, doesn't it? But do you want for playing quizzes and trivia games at Christmas, or board games and things like that? Do you go for all that?
I do, but I understand that I'm not very good. So I just, if it's Monopoly, I'm on it, and I'm so good at that. So I challenge you, any of you, to that. But no, anything else, I'm rubbish.
Connect 4.
It's all very fun. So it's only a game. I have to remind myself of that as well, because get quite competitive. It's about
Are you competitive? Are you? Well, we're about to do a little quiz of our own here on Type 40 Live, but rather than me asking the questions again this time from my little box of questions, I thought that we would consult some friends of ours, Ian, and some responsible characters, but I couldn't find any of those. So we ended up asking the hooligans from Avenue Who to test us with their probing questions about Doctor Who. So have your papers and pens at the ready, everybody, and those in the live chat, and see what you think of this, and whether any of these questions. See if you've got the answers, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes and see what we can find out. Fill some gaps in our knowledge. It's missing.
Hello there, I'm Doctor Who.
Hello?
I'm a traveller in time and space. What do you mean I'm near the Doctor? How would you know? Actually, let's find out what you do know. Let's have a quiz. Over to you, Doctor Who. Hello there, I'm the Doctor, but don't you call me Doctor Who, because that's not my name. That's the name of the telly show. Well then, I've popped along here to ask you lot some questions. Now, as you all know, I like fighting issues as well as the monsters, and I'm dead keen on equal representation for my kind on the show. Puppets! A puppet actually got to play the leading role of the Doctor in 1977, Dr. Emu. Sadly, the world wasn't ready for the Doctor to be played by a bird. Question 1. In 1985, a glove puppet was cast as the main villain in Time Lash. But what did the Bandrel ambassador threaten Carful with? Was it A, a Thunderbolt missile, B, a neutron torpedo, C, a Bender-Lips warhead, or D, an F-bomb? Now then, back in 1975, Basil Brush had his own TV show, but which Doctor Who monster made a guest appearance? Was it A, a Croton, B, an Ice Warrior, C, a Yeti, or D, a Quark? Good luck, everyone!
We have some
That was
very
amazing.
confident answers there in the chat. I've got to be honest. I thought I knew Time Lash inside out, and I can't remember. I can't remember that.
Yes, you can.
So, which one do you think it is then, Simon?
It's the Bendelix war missile thingy, whatever it was called.
Was that C?
C.
Because everybody in the chat is going C.
C. Yeah, it's the Bendelix warhead.
I trust the chat. Yeah, so I think
Yes.
not F-bomb.
Why not?
What was the second question again?
What was
Something
the
to do with
monster
Basil
that
Brush.
appeared in Basil Brush?
Yeah, that I don't know.
Yeah, that's,
Anybody know?
Yeah, it's C. It's a Yeti.
No.
So that's C again, do you think?
C again. Yeah, Yeti. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, lots of people saying it's C. So it's
Yeah,
before
C,
my
C.
time.
Yeah,
That was
before my
painful.
time.
said Doc Martin. Oh, John Yolden is giving it a B.
Oh, he's gone for a B.
No.
Simon is a pro, says Jack Fosman. The neutron bomb thingy, says Tony L.
No.
I suppose we better find out and get the answers on. Let's see if we can get the answers up and put us out of our misery, shall we? What's this? Okay, here we are.
Simon, if you're wrong.
I know I probably am wrong about both of them. I don't care. I have no shame.
Greetings, I am K9. I have the answers for this round of questions. Question 1. But what did the Bandrel ambassador threaten Carful with? Was it A, Thunderbolt missile, B, neutron torpedo, C, Bendelip's warhead, or D, an F-bomb? The answer is C, Bendelip's warhead. Question 2.
Hey!
Basil Brush had his own TV show, but which Doctor Who monster made a guest appearance? Was it A, a Croton, B, an Ice Warrior, C, a Yeti, or D, a Quark? The answer is C, a Yeti.
Oh, well done. Well done, Simon. Well done,
Well, there
Jack.
you go. I'll be back soon with some more Quiz Missy. Until then, I'm Missy, and you will obey me. Just kidding.
God bless JJ. Brilliant.
Thank you to the
Yes.
hooligans and JJ there at Avenue Who. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Yeah, I had no idea that the Yeti had been on Basil Brush, JT.
I remember it. I remember it well, actually. I'm being thrilled. It was like seeing the Sea Devil in Blake 7 years later. It was like, oh my God.
It's a while since I watched the scene, but I think I'm right, JT, in remembering it's not introduced as a Yeti from Doctor Who. I think it's just supposed to be an abominable snowman in a.
Yeah, they go hiking, don't they? And they go camping and stuff. And the abominable snowman goes, woo, and Mr. Roy's like, ah!
Yeah.
And
So
it's
nobody
very-
says
it's
it's from
my
Doctor
mess.
Who. It's just that
I
they
really want
needed
to
a
see
Yeti
this now.
outfit, and that's what they
Actually,
got.
I
think I'll
watched that as a
pass.
kid and I can't remember this whatsoever. I did
Oh.
watch Basil Brush.
You
And
probably
it's
watched the other generation
you
of
watched
Basil
the
Brush,
latest
not the
Maybe.
original.
They brought him back, didn't they? They definitely
Oh,
brought
that's
him back.
it. I probably watched the reboot thingy, Majigga.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
you
was
would.
in the
Even
70s.
rebooted.
This was that. Well, probably 80s. Probably that 1980, 78, 80, something like that.
I think it was late 70s, yeah.
Yeah.
So again, thank you to JJ at Avenue Who. There'll be more of that a little later on. And of course, the hooligans and JJ, they do all that for the same reasons that we do this, the same reason that you're there, certainly commenting in the live chat on YouTube and Facebook, all for the love of Doctor Who as we head up to the 60th anniversary year. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. Of course, we're going to keep pushing as well, keep evolving this show and keep interacting with you guys too about what works, what doesn't, and push on. Really, we've got lots of plans for the Diamond anniversary year, and we can't wait to get into all of that with you guys too. So stay tuned. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what we're doing next and when we're doing it. Okay, now news did break a few days ago that it wouldn't have been right for us not to acknowledge even in Christmas week. And it's sad. It's sad news. There's been too much sad news in Doctor Who this year, you could say. And but in this case, Simon, I think that when we're talking about somebody and something that over the last 45 years has brought us a lot of joy, whilst we should mourn a loss, it's important, isn't it, that we celebrate a life and look back with respect and enjoy and be thankful for the way that this person has enriched our lives through this wonderful TV show. And the best way to do that, we thought, wasn't it, was with a special look through the pages of the Doctor Who diary. So yeah, over to you now, Simon, for a special one-off tribute to a Doctor Who and British sci-fi legend.
Yeah, that's right. We weren't going to do a diary this week until the news broke a couple of days ago, Tuesday only, that Chris Boucher, the wonderful, wonderful writer of 3 Doctor Who stories, had sadly died at the age of 79. And they say, yeah, this news broke on Tuesday. And we just Dan and I sort of said, well, we just cannot not mark this, because I certainly for me, he is a very, very important writer on those late 70s years, because the contribution he put into Doctor Who is a massive contribution. He wrote The Face of Evil, which of course introduced Leela, and Leela was based on she was based on, well, for want of a better word, really a terrorist from the 70s. And at the point that they were introducing this character, Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes had already sort of decided that they wanted a new companion to come in.
They wanted to mix it up quite a lot, didn't they?
Yeah, and they were going to bring a companion in at the very end of the season in a sort of Victorian story along the lines of an Eliza Doolittle kind of character. And that serial turned into, of course, The Tanners of Weng-Chiang. But by that point, Chris Boucher had brought in The Face of Evil, had written The Face of Evil, and brought in this character based on a Palestinian, I'll say that again, Palestinian terrorist, Leela Khaled. And so they loved the character so much that they kept Leela, and the rest is history. And then, of course, he also wrote The Robots of Death, which we've been...
Love that one.
How many times have we spoken about The Robots of Death?
Millions.
Yeah. The Robots of Death is undoubtedly, in my opinion, one of the absolute top 10, if not one of the top 5 best Doctor Who stories of all time. And that came immediately after The Face of Evil, purely because Philip Hinchcliffe and Robert Holmes were so impressed by The Face of Evil that they immediately commissioned him to write The Robots of Death. And then in the following year, of course, we got Image of the Fendar, which was in the first Graham Williams series, but its roots are very, very much in the Graham Williams, Robert Holmes era of Doctor Who, and again, I absolutely adore Image of the Fendar. They're just 3 fantastic, brilliant, classic and I use that word deliberately in every sense of the word. They're just brilliant Doctor Who stories.
All strong, distinctive stories, aren't they?
Very, very strong. And as I say, The Robots of Death in particular, people who are not fans still talk about The Robots of Death, and people still clamour for the return of the Vok robots. And I've never quite understood why it's never happened to this day. But yeah, Chris Boucher, gosh, what a genius. A little bit of background about Chris. He was born in 1943. Get this, he started life as a trainee manager for Calagas.
Okay.
Yeah, of all things. While he was doing that, he got his BA in economics, and it was during that time that he began writing as purely for extra income. And his first writing gigs for television were actually writing small pieces for That's Life and for the Dave Allen Show.
That's Life, as in the Esther Ranson thing.
As in the Esther Ranson. He was on he worked on the very, very first
Those
series.
of you who don't know, That's Life, which finished around 25 years ago now, was a consumer rights program, wasn't it? So it wasn't a scripted drama. It was a magazine show, wasn't it? With real life stories about real life people in it.
That's right. And it was huge. I mean, it was absolutely huge. So he worked on the first series of that, I think, in 1975. That, again, was one of his sort of first gigs in television. But he went on. You know, we know him, as I say, from only three Doctor Who stories. And it's incredible when you think about it. He only wrote 3. But he had a huge career after that. He went on to script edit the second season of Shoestring, which, again, we've talked about many times on this.
Oh, because Bob Baker was involved in that, wasn't he?
Absolutely, and this again was huge in the late 70s, starring Trevor Eve, a private detective show.
Love Shoestring.
Brilliant series. And so Chris Boucher script edited the second series of that. He also wrote for and script edited the third season of Juliet Bravo. Again, another classic BBC police procedural drama. He then went on to Bergerac. You know, these are big hitters, and he worked on Bergerac as script editor between 83 and 1987. So
Bergerac was created by Robert Banks Stewart, wasn't it? So again, there's more Doctor Who connections there.
Same, I think, as Shoestring. I think Shoestring was also created by Robert Banks Stewart, wasn't it? But then let's not forget, he also slipped in time there to script edit all 4 series of Blake 7. Which is incredible. All 4 series of Blake 7 he did, and that was purely thanks to a recommendation from Robert Holmes, who recommended him for the role. Chris also wrote several Blake 7 episodes, and also wrote, notably, the famous final episode when it all comes crashing down. No spoilers.
Speaking as a massive Blake 7 fan, because I know that you don't like Blake 7, do you, Simon?
I'm not a big fan. Not a big
For
fan.
me, as much as I admire and respect and have a lot of affection for Terry Nation, it's Chris Boucher. It's his consistent involvement in that show, pretty much from start to finish, that gives it the flavour that it does, that makes it all seem a whole. You're quite a Blake 7 fan too, aren't you, JT?
I am, yeah, and I'm very grateful that Chris was there, because he sort of shaped, really from series 2 onwards, when Terry sort of
course.
Yeah, because Terry came up with the concept, of course, created the whole show, looked at the storylines, and was effectively what we call now a showrunner for series 1. But I'm really grateful that Chris was there, because what came afterwards, Chris had such a huge input, of course, and his episodes in that, like his Doctor Who episodes, are just gorgeous to watch.
And in particular, the final episode is stunning. Star Cops also, bless it. 1987 saw Chris Boucher create Star Cops for BBC Two, and he also wrote some of the episodes for BBC for Star Cops. Sadly, only 9 episodes were ever made of Star Cops. A couple of reasons for this. Firstly, there was industrial action, which cancelled the final episode, the 10th and final episode of what would, I guess, have originally been planned as series 1, but it just never went any further than that. And also to blame, apparently, were poor relations between Chris and the producer, Evgeny Gridnev. What a wonderful name, Evgeny Gridnev. Apparently told Chris that all of his scripts would have to be rewritten because they were so bad. Chris apparently later on said that their relationship, and I quote, their relationship started out at the bottom and worked its way down.
Oh dear.
So
no love lost then.
No.
Sadly.
Wow.
I mean, Star Cops has got a bit of a recent revival in the people have sort of picked up on.
I've always loved Star Cops.
Yeah. It was a good show. It was good. I remember.
It had huge potential.
Yeah, it did.
And if Chris had been allowed to get his way, it could still be on today.
I agree. I think it probably could. It sounds like Chris was sort of stymied in what he was trying to do there. And you look at something like the Robots of Death, and you see how he was good at sort of space opera kind of stuff. And yeah, it could have been absolutely knockout. Sadly, it didn't work out. Chris did return to Doctor Who. He wrote several BBC novels in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Four or 5 of them. Yeah, there we go. Corpse Marker, which of course picked up was the sequel to the Robots of Death. Last Man Running, which is my personal favourite. It's a brilliant bonkers book, Last Man Running, but very good. science fiction and Match of the Day. And they're all good. If you've never read them, track them down on eBay. They're all good. Corpse Marker is probably the biggest disappointment for me. It just doesn't quite live up to the sort of promise.
Yeah, I read Corpse Marker at the time. It didn't leave a big impact on me. No. I never even read the others, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, but I think that part of the problem with that is that the Robots of Death leaves such a long shadow. How do you beat the Robots of Death?
That's possibly why you could never do a television sequel as well, especially now that Chris is gone, because that the Robots of Death has such an impact on us. Any sort of televised sequel now, it's a bit dodgy for me, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because wouldn't you want to see Chris write it if it was going to be a sequel to the Robots of Death? Wouldn't you want to see Chris write it? Yeah, I think you would. Chris also wrote several Caldor City audio dramas, which is Caldor City is kind of
spins off from Corpse Marker, doesn't it? So it's a spin-off of the spin-off.
Absolutely, it follows on from there, and he's done lots and lots of those. So he was very, very prolific. He's one of those people. I always think we know the names Terry Nation and Robert Holmes so well, and if anything, Chris Boucher is somewhat forgotten and undervalued, I think, because again, the Robots of Death actually overshadows the person who wrote it, if you know what I mean. It's so good, and anybody that hasn't seen Robots of Death yet, if you feel like I may be overselling this, I'm not. Go watch the Robots of Death. Interestingly, the Robots of Death, of course, was the very, very first of the regular series of DVDs. They previously released the Five Doctors a couple of years before as a tester. But the Robots of Death was chosen, quite rightly, as the very first release of the actual full run of DVDs, which again means that Chris has the distinction of being the very first person, along with Philip Hinchcliffe, who recorded the audio commentary with him. Chris is the first one to record an audio commentary for any Doctor Who story ever. Quite right too, absolutely.
I don't think I've ever heard that one, Simon.
Well, it's an interesting listen. Bless them, the two of them are. It is a dry commentary. If I'm being brutally honest, these were in the early days of commentaries. I think really before people quite understood what you.
I think that could be why I've never listened to it. I might not have even found it or understood what a commentary was when it was originally released.
Yeah, it isn't the greatest commentary in the world, but I mean that actually goes along with Chris as a person. He was very quiet, he was very humble, he was very softly spoken, and very carefully considered in his speech. He thought very carefully before he opened his mouth. You look at somebody like, and I just pluck a name from the air, somebody like, let's say Russell T Davies, who could be sort of described as something of a mouth on legs, I would have thought.
Verbose, isn't he? Verbose.
He's verbose. And he'll always open his mouth and words will come out. Whereas Chris would think very, very carefully and was very careful and considered and self-effacing in the way he put himself across. And that's reflected in the audio commentary. But I like to think that he was one of those people that he allowed his words, his written words, the dialogue that he wrote, to speak for him. He didn't need to sell himself. He didn't need to big up anything he'd done. He was just brilliant at what he did, and he let it speak for him. Two actually of my very, very famous quotes come from Chris. Well, we'll look at this one first, which is a beautiful sort of tribute, really, to Chris. That he said, "If you try to tie up everything neatly at the end, it feels as though you tried to tie up everything neatly at the end. Because life isn't like that, I don't think stories should be either." And that's just I love that. That's just that's Chris, really. And you look at his stories.
Until you sent me this, I had not heard that before. Or I certainly hadn't processed it before. And I keep thinking about it. I'm not a writer. I'm not a storyteller like that. But I know what he means. Ian, what do you think about this? You see his point?
Yeah, sorry. What do I think of this?
Yeah, do you see his point there?
Yeah. As I said, I mean, I didn't even know this guy existed, to tell you the truth. I am a Doctor Who fan, but, I didn't know he existed at all. I mean, this is all news to me from Simon and stuff like that. And as I said, I don't really go on social media that much. Not much these
Have
days.
you seen Robots of Death?
I didn't even know he died. Sorry?
You've seen
What's that?
Robots of Death, I'm sure.
Yeah, I love Robots of Death.
There you
I
go.
love it.
And this
Yeah.
is what I say. Everybody knows who wrote the Daleks or Genesis of the Daleks or whatever.
Yeah.
People don't actually necessarily realise who wrote the Robots of Death. One of the favourite quotes from one of the favourite pieces of dialogue for me that Chris wrote, that I just think is brilliant, is in the Robots of Death, where the Doctor says to Chubb, "You're the perfect example of the inverse ratio between the size of the brain and the size of the mouth."
Yeah.
Listen, when you can write a line that good, you don't actually need to do anything else at all. You know, if I could write a line that good, I'd quit. That'd be the end of it.
I did notice, you know, despite the evils of social media, the day that this story broke, that Chris had passed away, JT, I saw Twitter and Facebook, lots of people sharing, particularly the last quote that Simon said, but other snapshots of Chris's dialogue too. I don't think that they went and dug their DVDs out. Somehow we've just absorbed it all, haven't we?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly fans of our age were, because the stories he wrote, I mean, Robots of Death is an absolute classic for Doctor Who. It's up there. It's in the top 5 for me of classics, you know, and it's one that I will happily send people to if they've never seen the show before. Go and watch the Robots of Death. And on that line that you quoted there, Simon, the brilliant thing and the magic about Chris is that he wrote that line and it fitted Tom's Doctor beautifully. No other version of the Doctor could deliver that line with the impact, the sincerity, and the honesty from a Time Lord's point of view. It suits Tom, no other version. And that's brilliant. And the great thing about Chris as well is he was such a genuine guy, and he was very sincere. And he was always, he wasn't, you know, he was just not assuming at all. I was very lucky to meet him years and years ago, and he couldn't understand the fuss. He just didn't understand. You know, we were all going on about Robots of Death and the face of evil, and how did Leela come about? And, you know, we were talking about Image of the Fendal was one that I really wanted to talk about as well, because it terrified me as a kid, which he was very happy about. He was so happy about that. And it was also broadcast around the Halloween time over here as well. But he was just so gentle with it all, and he was so bemused. And I remember him sitting with Bob, and, you know, between the two of them, they were just like, look at all these people appreciating our work. And Chris couldn't really necessarily take it all in. It was just, they were just so down to earth. And Chris himself, it was a pleasure, absolute pleasure to chat with him.
I think one of the things, JT, is that truth be told, he was just, and I use the word just guardedly, he was just a jobbing writer. That was what he did. That was his job. He wrote good stories. And so he didn't, as I say, he didn't feel the need to sort of trumpet about it or go on about it or discuss it at all.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't got, he's part of that generation where he didn't have an ego. So many modern writers.
Oh, yes.
So full of their own self-importance.
I think the difference is, though, back then you were just a writer. You weren't expected to have any sort of
to be a showman.
No, it's like you did your script, you did your work, you turned it in, and then you just carried on. Like nowadays, if you're on any big show or any sort of thing with a title or it's known, it's almost expected that you do press. It's expected that you do that. Yeah. And I think that's why you had the whole generation of these very quiet, lovely blokes or women who were just writing their scripts, and they were quite happy to do that.
The design for the Robots of Death is brilliant. I mean, it obviously they were on a budget, but the mask design is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? It actually made the whole show work.
That's interesting.
It's very creepy.
I asked him about that. I remember asking him about, did he have a hand? This is a younger JT, still quite green. Did he have a hand in the actual look of the designs? And he said, well, no, not at all. I wrote the story and collected my check. But I was delighted when I saw it, because apparently it was Philip Hinchcliffe or somebody had actually phoned him and said, it's going to look like a 1920s feel or Art Deco feel. And I remember him saying to me, my heart sank when they told me, because I couldn't see it in my head, how it fitted my story, because he apparently envisaged it being very dark. And then when they started talking about that, he really went for it and put it all in and wrote. So it was interesting how he was, you know, what he was telling me about that.
But what's also interesting is that the production team on the Robots of Death has sort of spoken, the designers and that have said how they basically clocked the script. They realised it was a damn good script. And so they upped their game because of it. So they recognised the value in it. And that was part of the reason why it sort of everybody seemed to go that extra mile on the Robots of Death. And you're right, Ian, the design of it is a major contributory factor to
Very
it.
creepy, isn't it?
See,
It's very emotional.
See, I think for me, creepiness, it's Fandal. That's what I picked for creepy out of those three. Because I can remember the woman, and just when she was the first time I watched that classic, I was really taken back by, God, that's disturbing. God, that's creepy. And I was just like, okay, this is definitely one of Tom's gothic stories.
How old were you, Charlotte, when you watched it?
I think I watched it last year for the first time.
Wow.
Oh, so great. You see, and you're getting that feeling in your age group. Imagine all of us watching it at 8, 7, 8 or 9.
I remember thinking that as well, thinking like, God, I'm an adult. And I'm like, no, this is like nightmare fuel.
Those voices.
Was it another Mary Whitehouse complaint for that one?
No,
I think she'd given up by that point, to be honest.
The voices, though, the voices of the robots, they're very calm, so it becomes really creepy, doesn't it? And it's a really good design as far as I'm concerned. I think that's what made the show, obviously, apart from Tom Baker and Leela, of course, the sexy Leela. But it was. Did I say something inappropriate there? I don't think I did. But it was one of those really, really good stories, and was one of those really, really good ones with Tom Baker. And you can tell it didn't cost. Well, it did cost, but it didn't cost much. They weren't running around. You weren't in a spaceship. Yeah, exactly.
It's when you look at his body of work as well. When you look at his stuff for Shoestring or even Bergerac, because Bergerac, of course, replaced Shoestring when the lead decided he didn't want to carry on. Yeah. And then they took the entire show, changed the lead character, and moved it to Jersey rather than very clever. But when you look at his stories as well, they're very solid.
Yes.
And it is that old school thing as well, Starry Eye, where they had a beginning, a middle, and an end, because that's what they did. Whereas now you don't necessarily get a beginning and a middle and an end.
But it's also what I like is to say that quote from him where he says that life isn't simple and tied up neatly at the end, and so he doesn't feel the need to do these stories. And you look at something like the Robots of Death and the Face of Evil in particular, and they do have slightly ambiguous endings. We never quite know, for example, what happens to the survivors on the sand miner.
I hadn't even thought of it like that, but you're right.
The Face of Evil again.
It completely explains his ending for Blake 7 as well, however frustrating we might feel about it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's one of the things that makes him so interesting, that it isn't all tied up necessarily desperately neatly, and that then gives you the option as a viewer to see what you want to in it.
In Doctor Who, why should it be actually all tied up as well? Because our focus is the Doctor. He comes into somebody's or a group of people's lives, messes it all up, and then he goes away. We don't necessarily need to know what happens. When it comes to that ending for Blake, I don't know if you know this story, but Terry Nation was not happy with that ending at all. And Chris Butcher had to speak to him and show him the episode and explain why it's done. And eventually Nation came round to the fact that, oh, hang on a minute, but he did come up with a sequel to it as well, of course. But that's another story.
It wasn't just Blake 7 and the Doctor Who stuff that was like that. Looking now I've seen that, and now you guys are drawing the parallels. I see it in Star Cops too. The moment where we meet Nathan Spring at the beginning of Star Cops. He's in the middle of a really awkward part of his life. He's in a relationship, but it's sort of breaking down. He's got a long-standing career and he's achieved, but he feels dissatisfied. And and you've got the character of Trevor Davis in that too, who's estranged from his wife. All of the characters in that, they've got lives before and after.
Yeah, it's like you come into people's lives at different parts of their life. And so Chris manages to get that. Even in Robots of Death, those guys have been together for however long, and you can see the tensions between them, and then it all comes out as to why some of them are there and why they're, and you can see that some of them are not going to miss others.
It's all feasible. Yeah, they're like a family that are falling apart, and their working relationships are falling apart. But I've got a comment here from David Aston here, and he said the best people are those who don't do it because of ego. They do what they do because they love to. And the greatness comes from humbleness. I see what you mean there. Somebody who's got a craft, is a craftsman. Like you said, Charlotte.
Yeah, that's the only focus.
Well, it was their job, wasn't it? That's what they did. That's what they were paid to do, and that's what they did. And they had to do it all the time to pay the rent or the mortgage and to live, and then to feed their family and stuff. That's all it was. And Chris is one example of that generation that got it absolutely right.
Yeah, he was, and he was the epitome of humbleness. I mean, he really was. To say, if you ever get a chance to see him in interview, I'm not sure whether there's a Mythmakers out there that they did with him at all, but you will realise that he's the absolute epitome of humbleness. Just a final word, actually, that I'd like to throw in here from one of Chris's scripts, Face of Evil. This is my very, very favourite line of dialogue that he ever wrote. The very powerful and the very stupid have one thing in common. They don't alter their views to fit the facts. They alter the facts to fit their views. That's a clever man. He knows his stuff. Yes. He's a clever man.
And how true is it today?
I was going to say, and it's so apt.
It's so apt.
It really is.
That was from 1977. Well, he could have written that just a few years ago, couldn't he?
Yeah, it's so apt today, thanks to social media and everything like that.
Yeah,
and he will be missed.
He will be very, very sad.
Rest in peace, and thank you to Chris Boucher. Obviously, because at this time of year, you feel for their family at any time. Yeah. There's no good time to lose a loved one.
No.
But I think the fact that he was such a humble man and has brought so much pleasure to everybody through Doctor Who, Blake 7, Star Cops, as you say, Bergerac, that's a big show. People love that. They're thinking about remaking it, as I understand.
Mm-hmm. Those box sets, they sell.
They have
remade it.
Have remade it now? Oh, good heavens.
Yeah.
Thank you,
I remember
Chris.
My parents watched it and were like, why are they speaking English? I was like, no, you don't understand television nowadays.
Next year we will be finally reviewing Robots of Death as part of our Diamond Anniversary celebration, simply because it's a story that we all love so much. And it's going to be no chore to talk about that for a good hour and a half. This is
great episode. It really is great.
Everybody's going to be down for that.
It's also rather resonates brilliantly this time of year, because I remember the Robots of Death so clearly from being on a New Year. It must have been 1978, I think, 77, 78.
77, yeah.
They did it as two double episodes, 2 50-minute episodes, one on New Year's Eve, one on New Year's Day. And so I always think of the Robots of Death at this time of year, because it was a big part of my Christmas of that particular year when I was at 10 years old. So happy days of watching the Robots of Death. So
thanks for putting that together.
Salute you, Chris.
Thanks for putting that together in honour of Chris Boucher.
Well,
Simon.
Yes, Chris.
You're watching the Type 40 Live Doctor Who Big Christmas Party for 2022. And a big Merry Christmas from all of us to all of you watching on YouTube and Facebook there in the live chat. Keep the comments coming. Stay tuned. But now we're off for break, everybody. It's that time again as we all go for a trip back through time and look at some golden moments on television that involve our Doctor Who luminaries from those decades past, when they were out flogging somebody else's wares using their face, their voice, or whatever else. So see who you recognise in this week's Type 40 Live Doctor Who ad break. We'll be back again in a couple of minutes.
Right, babe. Christmas. What about this beaded bag for my mum? And a PlayStation for your brother?
Yep.
Popcorn maker for little Hannah? Ooh, look. A flamethrower for Katie and Matt's baby.
Terrific.
More arsenic, sweetheart.
Great.
So, while I've been sorting out the Christmas shopping, what have you been up to?
I've got most of mine done at Boots too. Wellbeing.com.
Oh.
Are you sure about the flamethrower for the baby? Does it come in pink?
Incredible.
Spend $4.99 on an Iceland chicken and get free potatoes, peas and lemon meringue pie worth £4.37.
Iceland, make it easy
for Mum.
1,237 squirts, 25 used in battle, 7 to say, I screwed up, 58 works of art, 1 a little bit rude, 3 experimental, 38 unauthorized, all in one kitchen, ours. Anchor tastes like home.
Chronic body odor ruins lives. Hi. As a former make-believe doctor, there's one product I can recommend against the torment of excessive wetness and body odor. Old Spice Pro Strength Antiperspirant. It's prescription strength wetness protection, but you don't need a prescription to get it. That's why I can recommend it. I used to be a doctor for pretend.
Old Spice is really back in now, you know.
Welcome back to Type 40 Live. Doctor Who content and conversation. Concentrated Doctor Who for a couple of hours here on the Facebook YouTube channel and in podcast form too. Thanks to everybody who's watching on YouTube and Facebook in the live comment section. Should we go and check in and see what they've got to say about all of this nonsense and see how many sherries down they could be now? I find him creepy, said Carol Jude. Who are you talking about? Is that Neil Patrick Harris? Or who do you think that is, Shah? What do you think Carol means?
As long as it's not me or JT.
Could be any of us.
Probably me.
Yeah, Shah. Oh, for God's sake, Gary, I thought we'd managed to kill Percy for good. Who's Percy, Shah? Who's Percy?
Gary decided he was going to bring it up. There you go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can we?
Used to love him.
Percy Pig.
Yeah, so keep the comments coming. We've got a lot to get into as we close out this season of Type 40 Live. And we have not forgot. What's that rattling noise?
Because it's a Christmas show. So I've got my kaplunk here and I'm just playing it. And it's good. This is what we do in Britain. At this time of year, we go to pantomimes and we play games. Yes.
I thought it was one of those. Do you ever get those emails? Oh, you probably don't actually. Have you ever seen those emails they have for the male organ enlargement devices? That's what I thought it was for a moment. Anyway, I thought, blimey, some Christmas has come early for JT.
I thought he was playing the bingo balls.
Bingo. I love
Kaplunk. Never understood that game.
The night is young. Keep the comments. We got some. Keith recognises Kaplunk. There, we've got a few Kaplunkers in the chat. Yeah, keep it coming.
70s ones, Facebookers. Look at this.
Yeah, no replicas when it comes to JT. Okay, this is what you've been waiting for, isn't it? On Doctor Who Day, we came up together with a name each belonging to an associated face that we felt had made a standout contribution to Doctor Who in the year 2022. And then we threw it open to you.
Exciting.
This is it. We threw it open to you, to them on YouTube and Facebook. And now we have the final results. But before we announce the winner, we'd have a quick recap because, in previous years, this I don't call it competition. It's not really a competition, is it? But this award has been given last year to Julie Gardner in 2021. We gave it to Julie for coming back with Bad Wolf and potentially for saving Doctor Who for us. We'd been pleading, I personally had been pleading Bad Wolf to come and save Doctor Who, and Julie in particular, personally, since early 2021, something like that. And next thing we know, it actually happened. They stepped into the breach. The year before, we'd awarded it to Peter Capaldi. If you remember that, Charlotte, I think back then we were still hankering for a real Doctor Who.
Yeah, and I think he did a lot of really lovely charity stuff that year from memory.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
It was to do with, he was working, it was a charity, wasn't it, that he was a patron of for terminally ill children.
Something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did a message as the Doctor, I think, as well. It was lovely.
Yeah. He's irrepressible, Peter Capaldi, and that work continues to this day. So who will join Peter and Julie to become the Type 40 face of 2022? Well, between us, we came up with 4 names. Janet Fielding, of course, Tegan Jovanka, the Fifth Doctor's companion, who was there on the TARDIS in the early 80s and returned to the role this year. That was Simon's nomination because she obviously had that part in The Power of the Doctor. She came back to the same role at nearly 70 years of age and played it with aplomb, working with, let's face it, some pretty mediocre material. But Janet definitely brought plenty of Janet, didn't she, Simon?
She certainly did. It was just lovely to see her back. The script was not good. The lines she was given were not good. The characterization I thought was terrible. But it was just brilliant to see Janet Fielding back. It was just, I was a 15-year-old teenager again watching Doctor Who, and there's nothing wrong with that.
JT, your nomination was Bernard Cribbins, who sadly passed away this year, but not before he could return to the role of Wilf Mott to record some material for the 60th anniversary that we're going to see probably around November next year.
Yeah, and this was me nominating Bernard not just for Wilf and his role in Doctor Who, and also as Tom, of course, in Dalek Invasion of Earth 2150 AD, the movie, but because he is a British legend and he has to be remembered, and hopefully he will be remembered by generations to come, because there were a lot of us that grew up with Bernard around. He told us stories through Jack and Nori and the Wombles and oh god, so many things, and he was always around. The Railway Children, he was just brilliant in everything he did, and it was an absolute joy to see him coming back to play a role that introduced him to a new generation. And then of course he appeared in a kids show after that as well. And for me, it was just a nomination to honour a British legend.
A lifetime contribution, and a man who made plenty of childhoods. Over to another man we've yet to see in the role that could make his career in Ncuti Gatwa when he plays the 15th Doctor, Charlotte. But he was your nomination this year, wasn't he? Can you quickly sum up as to why?
Mainly because he was coming into such a big role, so much pressure, and how the fans were going to view him. And he's just come in with grace, humble charm, and a lot of humbleness. And he's just made me more excited to see his Doctor the more I've seen him do press.
Breath of fresh air, hasn't he? I mean, the press launch that they had in New York, show he was there only a few weeks ago at the big launch. Did you catch any of that?
I didn't. I can't believe I'm a few weeks late. That's annoying.
Just so near and yet so far.
Yeah, exactly. As always.
But no, I agree with you, and I think that the effect that his involvement has had on the fandom, even for the people, I didn't know this guy from Adam. but the effect that he had on the fandom, it was real, and it was potent. And as he's, even this just in the few weeks since we put out that Doctor Who Day show and you nominated him, we've seen that even more so. I put forward Sophie Aldred, who of course played the character of Ace originally between 1987 and 1989 on screen. She's continued to be involved through Big Finish ever since. She's never been too far away from Doctor Who, but just like Janet, Sophie appeared again in The Power of the Doctor this year, and for me, she was the charisma, I suppose, in that story. She was the main reason for watching it. I thought she stepped back into the role beautifully, and again, really lifted what was a fairly mediocre production with how can I put this? With a genuine grasp
enthusiasm
of character. The enthusiasm for it too, but the grasp of the character that she obviously knew inside out when everybody else is flapping around wearing characters that have never been tailored to them. Nobody needs to tailor Ace to Sophie. She's been wearing the character now for several decades, and even when she's given lines of dialogue daubed out by the likes of Chris Chibnall, she can bring Ace to life. And it wasn't just that either. It was, as I said before, it was the realization that Sophie has always been there for us. She's not just one of the family of Doctor Who cast members. She's one of us. She's part of the community. Her involvement in charity work in particular, and the support of Neil Cole's exhibition too, Simon, I felt that this meant that Sophie's contribution is far beyond what's on screen.
Yeah, absolutely. She's done so much with Neil Cole up at the Museum of Classic Sci-Fi. She's really become something of a mascot, for want of a better word. She's always up there doing stuff, and good on, and she always has done. But that's also true of so many people within the Doctor Who world. It's
a tough call, isn't it? It's tough to come up with nominations for this most years.
It's always tough.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people out there associated with Doctor Who.
Yeah, and we didn't leave it there. We did throw it open to you guys, to our community on Facebook, to come up with a nomination of your own. And together, the person who gathered the most votes was this guy. You may have heard of him. It's Stephen Russell Davies. He was born in April 1963. Of course, we know him as Russell T Davies, the Welsh screenwriter and TV producer, whose works include The Second Coming, Queer as Folk, Casanova, A Very English Scandal, Years and Years, It's a Sin, and of course, back in 2005, he was the guy who brought Doctor Who back to the television for us, remaining as showrunner there for 4 full series and some specials, and casting Christopher Eccleston and David Tennant there in the title role, and then went off back to his career, writing other successful dramas. He hasn't stopped since. You could say that It's a Sin was probably his most successful show of all in terms of sort of popular drama. But Doctor Who has never been far from him, has it, Shah?
No, never. Sorry, I just remembered I was on mute. No, never. I'm not surprised that he's up there. He's not my personal pick. But yeah, I can completely understand why, especially when now I know so much more than I used to about the show, and him bringing it back and it being successful, then of course, yeah, why shouldn't he be there? But yeah, good. That's completely fair enough.
Yeah, so he's brought it back to great success once. He could be about to do it again. Sarah, you still have full belief in Russell T Davies?
I do, yeah. As long as he behaves himself when he speaks. But yeah, he's got the creativity. He's got the passion. We know he's got the talent. So yeah, bring it on. I've got faith in him. Even more, you say it's that first time was lightning in a bottle, but if anybody can do it again, it's Russell and Bad Wolf.
Yeah.
We can hope, can't we? Simon, you're the one who's the most lukewarm to Russell coming back. But the man's achievements with the show and with the brand, outside of our own personal subjective tastes, you probably wouldn't argue with that either, though, would you necessarily?
Yeah, I would argue with it. Sorry.
No, but if it wasn't for Russell, I can't think of anybody else who could have brought the show back so effectively in the mid-noughties like that. Needed, for example, to have come back with somebody like Chris Boucher, or a Chris Chibnall character, somebody who wasn't a showman. It needed a champion then.
Yeah, I think
Russell
you're right.
was a champion.
Yeah, being totally fair. Yes, you're quite right. No, there probably wasn't anybody better who could have brought it back in 2005. I just am not at all convinced that he should be the person at the helm now, not remotely. But there we go. I would have liked.
It's more debatable now, isn't it? Certainly.
Well, yeah. I just want to see some fresh blood there. I just don't wonder. Unless it's really going to have to impress me big time for me to sort of change my mind that it needed some fresh blood, not to go back onto former glory, rest our reputation on former glories. No, it's not what Doctor Who has ever done. It's not what Doctor Who should be doing now. And to be clear, I'm going into it fully prepared to be convinced, with an open mind. Impress me. Prove me wrong. Brilliant. Very happy for that, because I want Doctor Who to be back on top again. But my personal feeling is this isn't the way to do it.
Simon's not alone, is he, JT? There's a great many people have doubts for different reasons. Earlier on in the year, you and I were probably Russell T Davies' biggest advocates, but we started to wobble too, didn't we? How do you feel seeing Russell getting put forward here, not by us, but by the Space Bookers, by the members of the Type 40 Facebook group? There's obviously still a great swell of support and belief in the man after all, isn't there?
Seems like it, but I'm stunned that Russell has been put forward. I always thought that the face of 2022 or the face of the year was about people that were in that year, hence why I put forward Bernard. I don't understand why. What has Russell done in 2022 to deserve a nomination? I don't get it. I really, really don't understand this.
Well,
so
I suppose
I just
playing devil's advocate, JT, as soon as May, was it in mid-May, as soon as they announced, not so much when Shooty was cast, it was more when Tennant and Tate when they were announced as coming back, and within 24 hours they were out on the streets filming, and there Russell was very much the ringmaster, engaging with the public, pushing the promotion, being the champion again. It gave the show the brand. It gave it a jolt, Sarah.
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Exactly, yeah, no, you're right. It got Doctor Who talking. It got people talking about Doctor Who. Not just
certainly in Britain. In Britain,
yeah.
it was like an electric. It was like electricity coursing through the show again, wasn't it?
And Joe Public as well. You know, seeing David and Catherine again, it blew their minds. And
but that wasn't that in the public's point of view. That wouldn't be. I mean, the public don't really know Russell T Davies, but they do know David Tennant and Catherine Tate. I just don't think personally that Russell has earned anything this year. This time next year, perhaps as a nomination.
I think it's the Russell T Davies effect. It's what he brings in his wake. The public don't know who he is, but the fact, oh Christ, Doctor Who's in the paper again. Why? And it's down to that bloke.
For me, Russell could have been nominated next year. This now means that he can't be nominated next year.
The only thing I would say, JT, maybe, and you know, I'm not a supporter of Russell T Davies in any form whatsoever, but I suppose what he has done, you know, you said, what has he done for Doctor Who this year? Well, I guess what he's done is he has reinvigorated fandom, and he's got people like you and lots of other people excited and optimistic for the show again. So maybe that's his achievement.
I wouldn't say it's just that. If I were to think of an actual physical thing, because I understand what JT's saying, we've not seen any of his episodes yet. We've not seen any writing yet, so it can't be that. I think it's actual interaction again. I think we didn't realise how much we missed it in the Chibnall era, actually having the showrunner have some sort of interaction, having some sort of connection with the fan base. Like we've all said, obviously we don't know how much of the social media stuff is Russell, but we know he's on social media. The fact that he's actually writing stuff in Doctor Who magazine, the fact that he's doing the comic strip, or that was his idea, it seems to be, unless I'm wrong there. Like he's already showing interaction, and actually before we've seen any episodes. And I would guess maybe that's why he's got the nomination, because he's actually being a showrunner in the traditional sense of being a little bit public already, being a little bit reaching out and a little bit interaction. And I just think we were so desperate because Chibnall gave us nothing. It was just like really, it felt so far away. We've never felt so far away.
I do think it
shut
was
himself
seismic.
away in his ivory tower, you know.
Let's see what people have got to say in the live chat here about all of this. We've got a spot on from Gary Browser, spot on Charlotte, but a here Simon from Paul Murray. Peter Harrington adds its familiarity and stability that he brings, hopefully.
Well, that's the word. Hopefully, you can't guarantee anything. This time next year, we'll either love it or hate it. It will be like Marmite. There will be no in between. We're either going to buy into it or we're going to reject it. And it'd be interesting to have this conversation this time next year, because Russell now can't. You know, he won't be around to be nominated next year necessarily.
He can. I'm going to say it depends on the rules are whoever wins this year.
Oh, so he hasn't won this.
They can't be nominated the following. Well, I haven't told. We don't know yet. If Bernard doesn't win, Christmas is ruined, says Jack Thursby. But Paul Murray says, I think Russell T Davies reignited the show. So we've got, a mix here. I think people, some of us, some are positive, some are negative about Russell T Davies and this particular award. Great point, JT, says Vanessa.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
Says, I hope Russell T Davies can bring Who back, but I'm still concerned. I've got I agree, Simon, 100% from Jack Thursby. Okay, and yes, I suppose I better not keep you waiting any longer because we've got those candidates there. So that's Bernard Cribbins, Janet Fielding, Ncuti Gatwa, Sophie Aldred. Got no drum roll. Shaw, can you bang on something there? Get a bit of echo. There we are. The winner of the Type 40 Live Doctor Who Face of 2022 is. JT's nomination of Bernard Cribbins. Bernard Joseph Cribbins, born on the 29th of December 1928. He passed away on the 27th of July this year, 2022. English actor and singer whose career spanned an astonishing 7 decades. During the 60s, he obviously became known for those novelty songs that we still sing today. Holding the Ground, Right Said Fred, all those things, and appearances in early Carry On movies, that kind of thing. But that was just the beginning for him. The roles came thick and fast afterwards. Iconic movies like The Railway Children, Hitchcock's film Frenzy, episodes of Fawlty Towers, Space 1999. Bernard Cribbins did everything, didn't he, Ian?
He did, and he is well deserved as well.
Yeah,
he's a British institution. He's like, he's obviously he's part of my childhood as well, growing up and stuff like that. So obviously I'm really biased, and also he's in the Doctor Who movie, which is a really good movie. So yeah, I think he deserves it definitely.
I wonder, he was never given a knighthood or anything like that, was he? I wonder whether he was.
I don't think he was.
It was an OBE, Simon.
Oh, he's OBE, is he?
Yeah,
not a knighthood though. Not a knighthood.
No knighthood.
I think Roy Castle. Did Roy Castle get a knighthood? I can't remember.
Can't remember. Yeah. But the brilliant thing about Bernard is as well is that thankfully we've still got something to see. And again, this time next year in 2023, we'll be able to discuss his final role.
Yeah.
And in a sense, it's something to look forward to because we've got that one.
It's not too painful because he does look very frail there. So I just hope it's not too painful to look at him.
Well, what a pro though as well. I mean, that was literally weeks before he passed. Yeah. And what a pro. He managed to get up, get out there, remember his lines and get it done. What a pro.
Well, I just hope that he has a good role rather than just a wheel him on. He says one word and he's gone. I just hope that he has a good little role. So
I can't see Russell or any of the production team doing that to him. I just think
you'd have far too much respect for him.
Yes, that's what I mean.
I hope so.
Because we know Tennant also adored him. Like he named two of his dogs or children, I can't remember, after him. So it's like
he's got a son called Wilfred, hasn't he?
Yeah.
And I think he's got a dog called Bernard.
Yeah, so it's like how that's your evidence how much he adored.
Yeah,
that
but
man.
David's not writing it, so do you know what I mean?
No, but he's I think he would probably have a little bit of say, maybe just when it comes to.
I would like to think that the 60th anniversary is dedicated to Bernard, just like
he probably will be.
The TV movie was dedicated to John.
Yeah, it probably will be. Yeah, I wouldn't. It's probably a dead cert that it will be.
Yeah.
He was. For me, he was primarily the voice of the Wombles.
He was.
Yeah. a little boy. He was the Wombles guy. Ian. It was a big favourite of mine. He was only making that between 1973 and 1975, but it was repeated and repeated and repeated and repeated. He was a regular reader of the stories on Jack and Ori. He was on that show between 1966 and 1991.
Yeah, but the big stars stole his thunder, didn't they? Those big stars stole his thunder because when they brought it back, all these stars wanted to read now. But Bernard was one of the one of the ones that always was there. Yes. It's a shame that happened when they brought it back. It's a shame they didn't celebrate Bernard's contribution to Jack and Nori. They just kind of threw him at the wayside and just focused on all those big stars that wanted the limelight, I guess. But yeah, it's a shame. Such a shame. He was a great actor.
And his birthday's coming up. It's on the 29th of December, which is also
your birthday.
It's really nice to share my birthday with him.
Happy birthday!
Well, that's a beautiful note.
But it's his birthday too. It's his birthday, 29th of December.
Yeah. There we are. Brilliant. Bernard Cribbins, genuine Doctor Who legend.
Yeah.
Sadly, no longer with us, but he has a gift left to deliver at some point later in 2023. We're going to see his final performance as Wilf Donner's granddad in the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials. Whenever we're going to get them, who knows, with David Tennant and Catherine Tate, Jacqueline King, and everybody else. And then, of course, we can still enjoy his performance in Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD.
Yeah. He gets that beating. Gets a hell of a beating in the beginning, doesn't he?
He does, yeah.
A drubbing. A proper
The other interesting thing about this will be for the face of 2023. Will Russell be nominated? Let's have a look at that.
Yeah,
he's not allowed to be nominated again, is he?
No, that's the rules. The winners can't be nominated again. Like, no, you can't nominate Peter Capaldi again because he's won before. If they haven't won before, they can be nominated again. Yeah.
What about Simon? Can he be nominated?
We can nominate Simon too. Come on. So yes,
for the diaries.
Welcome, Bernard.
Yeah, well done, Bernard.
Another much
Type 40 Doctor Who Face of 2022. The late Bernard Cribbins, OBE.
Well deserved.
Thank you to everybody who's played along and voted for Bernard, for Russell, for Janet, for Sophie, for Shooty. Everybody who's joined in there on our Doctor Who Personality of the Year contest that we like to run. Hope you've enjoyed it. And look forward to seeing the Bernard's final performances next year. But let's head back to the rest of the show to see what else we've got lined up. Okay, I hope you're feeling clever, Ian. I hope you're feeling lucky because we've got some more questions to be put before us by the devilish Missy yet again. So she's back. Heaven knows what she's going to throw before us this time. I couldn't answer the original questions, could I?
Nor could I.
Here we have some more, all the way from Avenue Who. It's the Hooligans with another round of the Type 40 Christmas quiz. Where are we? Get a load of this. You got your paper and pen ready there, Shah?
Yes, let's do it.
Sure, why not?
Hello, It's a good thing we didn't get Missy a couple of weeks ago, wasn't it? On the
Do you want to play a game?
Hello.
Oh, is it going for just? Is it just me that's going? It's going for.
No, it's okay.
I'm the Doctor. I'm the President-elect of the High Council of Time Lords, keeper of the legacy of Rassilon, defender of the laws of time, and eater of unlimited rice pudding. Well, then I've got a couple of questions for you. On the planet Terra Alpha, I encountered a terrifying creature of fur and fangs. But enough about Helen A's wig. What kind of animal was Fifi?
Oh no!
Was she A stigron? B,
no idea.
A stigorax? C, a
Stigron? Isn't
or
Stigron
D, a poodle?
The
Now then, my young friend Ace is a massive fan of the TV show Thunderbirds, and she even has a Fanderson badge. But I want to know, which Tracy brother did not appear in Doctor Who?
Oh, God.
Was it
I stand a
A,
chance with this.
David Graham, B, Shane Rimmer, C, Jeremy Wilkin, or D, Matt Zimmerman?
Well,
well.
there we go.
Okay, Shane Rimmer. Shane Rimmer was in the Gunfighters, yeah?
Yeah. Definitely.
Jeremy, I don't know any of your first.
Jeremy Wilkin. Jeremy Wilkin is in what's Jeremy Wilkin in? Oh, he's in the Space Museum. Isn't he Jeremy Wilkin? I'm sure he's in the Space Museum.
I love how Simon's doing all the work here. With the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just leave him to it.
I don't know. Could it be D? Oh.
It's definitely D. It's Matt Zimmerman.
What we're saying in the chat.
In the live chat, are doing any better? Atom Mirabalis has joined us and says, awesome,
Revenge
I
of
love
the
this.
Cybermen, thank you. Revenge of the Cybermen, crimpling to blue.
Yes.
Oh,
Right.
yes, yeah, of course.
Jeremy
The
Wilkin,
blonde.
of course.
Excuse
That's
me.
where I knew him from somewhere. Revenge of the Cybermen, yeah, of course. Can't remember what the first one was that was offered to us.
We've got a B and a D from Paul Murray.
I've got a feeling it's B for the dog as
The
well.
puppet.
Yeah.
What was
the first one?
CT, yeah.
B.
Yeah,
No idea.
Lord Foff is there with a D.
No idea.
Yeah, lots of people calling Revenge of the Sidemen for the blonde-haired guy.
Yes.
So I'm not too sure on the Thunderbirds dudes. His little sweater, says Jack Thursby. I think he's talking about the Seventh Doctor there, the hooligan. Yeah. Let's put us out of our misery and get the answers up and see what's got to be said about all of that.
Greetings, I am K9. I have the answers for this round of questions. Question
that
one.
K9.
What kind of animal was Fifi?
A poodle.
Was it A, a stigron, B, Stigorax, C, Sycorax, D, poodle? The answer is B, Stigorax.
Yay.
Question 2. Which Tracy brother did not appear in Doctor Who? Was it A, David Graham, B, Shane Rimmer, C, Jeremy Wilkin, or D, Matt Zimmerman? The answer is D, Matt Zimmerman. David Graham appeared in City of Death. Shane Rimmer appeared in Gunfighters. Jeremy Wilkin appeared in Revenge of the Cybermen. Well, there you go. I'll be back soon with some more quiz missy. Until then,
So if we see you first, love.
you will obey me. Just kidding. But you will.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
Fabulous stuff from Avenue Who.
Brilliant.
And,
Very clever.
and JJ and all the hooligans. Thank you so much, JJ, for submitting that and for teasing our brains. Well, my brain, I had no idea. Yeah, I know the Happiness Patrol inside out, but I don't think I'd ever really taken in what species a little Fifi was.
Oh, I hated that bloody puppet. I'll tell you the reason, Spacebookers, why I hated that puppet, because I met it in 1989 and it was sitting on Steve's lap. And I didn't realize that he was puppeteering the thing. And I went to look at it going, wow, isn't it so realistic? And the thing bit me. And
Stephen Moore.
I did scream. I went, oh my God. And he just went, hate you. Yeah.
Stephen Moore, wasn't it, the puppeteer who made Fifi originally?
Yeah.
And we get a little cloudy after a while.
Ugh. I hope it's dead. I hope it's in the curry.
That's definitely not Fifi that's strapped to John Pertwee's chin there. This picture of the Third Doctor dressing up as Santa. Can anybody guess where this picture comes from?
Yeah, I don't recognise that at all. I have to be honest.
Is it a Woolworths advert?
I was going to say I was thinking advert, but I don't know why. Just I got that vibe.
It looks. I would say very early 70s. I would say. Maybe 1970s, something like that. Around
the time he was on Doctor Who.
Yeah, I would have thought it's a very early time on Doctor Who. Don't recognise it at all. I haven't got a clue where that's from.
It's JT?
No, you go ahead.
It's not JT.
It's from one of his appearances on another adventure series. It's from the Avengers.
Oh, wow. Of course. I remember that episode. I remember it. I'm so old, I remember it.
And the Darren Zone got it. Well done, Darren.
Oh, yeah, we've got Darren Zone. Yeah, it's not part of the official quiz, but I think he was in the Avengers twice.
He was. Yes,
yeah.
He was, yeah. So is Ronnie Barker.
Clearly, that's JT behind him, though, with that.
yeah, just his head. Just his head.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. So yeah, we're not used to seeing the Third Doctor dressed as a Santa like that. We're used to the velvet suit, aren't we? And the ruffled shirt and the Inverness cape and all that kind of thing. The Doctor's silhouette.
Yeah.
And unbelievably, JT looks just like the wings of the mother hen. That's how we used to describe it, wasn't it? Now, I thought that by this week we would know what Ncuti Gatwa would be wearing as the Doctor, because, as we said, they are filming Doctor Who right now.
I've given him a shirt.
They're about to stop. There are only a few more days left. We may get it before Christmas. Russell has promised some big revelation before Christmas, or he did. But for the moment, we only have this one image, proper image of Ncuti Gatwa in character. And we now know, of course, that this cloudy sky that we see behind him, that was just for that trailer, whenever it was, 4 or 5 weeks ago now. That's not the actual imagery that's going to appear in the special. So we're still guessing about what the guy's going to wear. Now, could he be going right back in time and doing what Neil Tennant's done, Simon, and go real Hartnell here? This is a pic from the Pet Shop. The Pet Shop Boys' latest tour.
No,
where
it's brilliant. I saw it.
He seems to be wearing the tea cozy there that the First Doctor used to wear now and again, particularly on a cold night like this.
The Astrakhan hat, absolutely. Yeah, wrong colour, but yeah, why not? And
definitely rocking it.
Yeah,
looks like he's 17 in 20 years' time.
Oh, that's a bit cruel.
That is cruel. That is cruel.
A bit cruel.
It's a great show. If you get a chance to see this tour, go and see it, because it's brilliant. I enjoyed every minute.
I saw him a couple of years ago. He can still belt it out. I tell you that.
I was saying they supported Take That. You know, when all the members were together and Robbie joined them. Brilliant.
That was fantastic. I watched that. I went to Manchester.
I was at Manchester. You might have bumped into each other.
We may well have been dancing to each other. That was amazing. We'll talk about that later.
If you're wondering whether Ncuti could rock that, wonder no longer, because I think we have an answer here. We have him wearing something not dissimilar in the latest piece of fan art there. I haven't got a name.
Got to be the worst dressed Doctor I've seen so far.
No, that's not art. It's an actual costume.
I know.
But people are pulling out the stops with the fan art whilst we wait on the official revelation of what the 15th Doctor could wear. Somebody has really run with that. What's the name? What kind of hat is it again, Simon?
It's an Astrakhan hat. I think it's actually named after the Astrakhan sheep from which the wool comes. I think.
Okay.
I just hope
useless information.
He's not wearing something that's connected to, like his heritage and stuff like that, like they did with the stupid Cancel Estate Doctor. I just hope it's something really nice and classy, and he looks really good in it. That's all. Yeah.
I understand, Charlotte, that's you done now. You're about to vanish in a sprinkling of Christmas dust.
Yeah, I've got reindeer bells going, so Merry Christmas, everybody, and have a good one. And I'll see
Glad
you
you're feeling better. Merry Christmas. Look forward to
Merry
seeing you again next time.
Don't forget to pull your crap, Charlotte.
I will.
Oh, yes. Essential.
Sounds like that.
Then there were 6.
I've got lots of
bad
these.
advice.
I'm going to be pulling these. Oh, yes. Love it.
I'm sure you will. Merry Christmas.
I'll pull a cracker, everybody, at Christmas. It's tradition.
And you got to wear your hat.
I am.
Your horns, yeah.
And we've got the usual. Take care, Charlotte. Lots of people saying good night and Merry Christmas to Charlotte there.
She needs to sleep.
Vanessa, Gary, Wendy, all of our regulars, and lots of the people who've joined us. People have joined us for the very first time. So yeah, if you have joined us for the very first time, don't forget to please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell, because we will be back in time. We will. So if you want the inside info about when and what, whether it's a podcast or a live stream, you're best off liking this video first, subscribing to the channel, and hitting the cloister bell, the little notification bell, so you know what we're doing next and when we're doing it. I wonder what they're doing next and when. All we know for the time being is that David Tennant and Catherine Tate are there for the 60th anniversary special. Everybody else is denying that they're in it. We do have this quote from David Tennant that they filmed with a lot of other people on a close set. You're nowhere near the whole story. Stay tuned. Peter Capaldi, Matt Smith, Chris Eccleston, they're all keeping tight-lipped or saying they're not in it. Somebody is lying. Who will be the first to crack?
Yeah, I was waiting for Ian to say
it. Will Hugh Grant be there? You never know. We're going to find out next year. We'll get our answers sooner or later. They can't keep it up forever, can they, Simon? They can't keep us in suspense.
10 to 1, they'll do it next week when we're not on because we're on our break.
Probably. You know what? Russell's watching this and he's waiting for us to come up.
I wouldn't put it past them. Nothing has surprised me.
Because he didn't win. That's why he'll have a go at us. Because he didn't win.
Greetings, I am K9. If you have an inquiry and Siri or Alexa cannot help, maybe I can. Have you ever wondered if time travel is possible? Or what can a sonic screwdriver do? I may have the answers. Please leave your questions in the comments below.
Yes, and a Merry Christmas to all of you at home from all of us here at Type 40 Live as we carry on with our Type 40 Live Doctor Who Christmas party for 2022. And why do we do it all? Why do we do this, Sarah?
For the love of who?
Yay! Fantastic stuff. And what have people got to do if they've loved it as much as we have?
Like and subscribe.
That's it. That's it.
Hit the bell.
Hit the like, haven't they, Shaw? Subscribe and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what we're doing next. And when we're doing it, we like to finish off every Type 40 Live with a look across the fandom at some pretty pictures from all the talented people out there in the community, digitally or traditionally. What have they prepared for us this time? What Christmas cards can we lay before you and put up on screen for us to feast on as we close out another season of Type 40 Live? And looking back to the beginning of the show, Simon, we went, if you remember, we went with Andy to all the locations for the 5 Doctors with his wonderful slideshow there of the then and the now. Yeah, thank you. Thanks again, Andy. Well, we've got some artwork. We've got some artwork here. Now, I haven't got a name for this either, but I thought this made for a sort of pretty picture of what could have been, if only Tom had showed up, and if Tony Tom had been there.
Brilliant.
Slotted Tom Baker beautifully in there, Ian.
Brilliant.
With that, the promo
Love
picture,
it.
we've all seen this hundreds of times, but there is Tom Baker with the Doctors, with the companions, with K9 and the Brig.
Isn't that
I
cool?
so wish he was in it, though. I know a lot of people say, but I so wish he was in it. Anyway,
It makes you realise, actually, looking at that photo, it makes you realise how bad the Madame Tussauds waxworks actually doesn't look at all like him.
Oh, dear.
They all say, don't they, JT, that the waxwork looked better in real life.
It did. I loved that exhibition. I remember my mum and dad trying to get me out of it. I think we only spent about 4 hours there. It wasn't enough for me, but I absolutely loved it. And I loved having a picture taken with the 4th Doctor at the beginning of the exhibition, and then again inside as Meglos.
Yeah, I remember being blown away by Meglos. The Meglos waxwork was even more impressive than the Tom Baker.
It was gorgeous, the spiky bits.
It was
brilliant. Yeah.
Just imagine we had Pertwee and Tom together on screen, says Java Bean.
That would have been a case, I think, Mike, that where they would have had to separate the actors for most of the story.
I think they would, yes.
Yeah, I think there would have been fireworks on set. Can you imagine?
It's amazing. It is amazing, though, how history repeats itself, isn't it? Really, when you look at things today, it's very interesting. Actors' egos, bless them.
And talking about actors, earlier on, we told you, didn't we, about Doctor Who, the 8th Doctor Adventures Connections box set, which stars this guy called Paul McGann. But much more important than that is that it stars Barnaby Jago as Albie Sinclair. And Shah, you may well do that. Yeah, we should punch the air because it's only been out a few days and already there is fan art. Barnaby has fan art centered around this. This is from Jana J. This is her digital artwork for Albie's Angels featuring Barnaby Jago there on the top left.
That's nice.
That's wicked, that, isn't it?
Oh, that's awesome.
Beautiful
He's a good-looking
job,
lad,
Jane.
isn't he? Grrr.
Yes, he's there, and he looks like he belongs. I think in the cast there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not
Mean
before
and
time.
moody. Definitely mean and moody.
Mean, moody, broody.
Of course, he
That's
belongs.
Barnaby. We're so
Yeah.
proud of you, Barnaby. I can't wait to listen to this.
You should
And
be the
I've
Dr.
seen.
Barnaby.
Yeah, he probably should. I've seen Barnaby perform on stage. He's a fantastic actor. It's nothing I haven't said to his face. But he just, when you compliment him, he just tend to he gets all unnecessary, don't you, mate? Don't you? He was great. He was great in the production that I saw him in, and I couldn't be happier for him than the news we got this week. He's had to keep it under his hat, Simon, for 6 months. You know, we did a show with him a couple of weeks ago. And spoke to him several times, and he couldn't tell any of us. He said it was so hard. And we'll be catching up with him sooner or later to find out the
I didn't realise that they were so secretive about their casting. So, that's interesting. Yeah, we've got a lot of talented people though, haven't we? Who are part of the team as you were, because we've got a lot of space bookers as well. Can I give a big shout out to Will? I don't think he's with us tonight, Mr. Hadcroft, but I finally got round to listening to his book. It never sounds right to me, but the Resurrection Plant, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed this. It's an hour of sheer entertainment.
Do you want to join our review special that we've got planned next year?
Yeah, I mean, he's
on.
coming on the show. We're going to sort something out with Will, and he's coming on the show. But last minute Christmas present for yourself or somebody else, I recommend that. It's £10 from Unusual Stockists, and we covered it last week on Merchandise Paradise. But I love that. Really good read. Well done, Will.
Yeah, good stuff, Will.
Well
We've got more art. This definitely isn't fan art. This is about as professional as it can get, Ian, and from a Doctor Who art royalty, I suppose. Book cover artist and VHS range artist Simon through the 90s, in particular on the blue spine reprints of Doctor Who books that we got around that time. The name Alistair Pearson will need no introduction, and he continues to put out Doctor Who work and to revise old Doctor Who artwork. But I really like this. This is brand new, and it's for the Doctor Who Appreciation Society's Celestial Toy Room Annual for 2023. A brand new portrait from Alistair Pearson of the Sixth Doctor, Colin Baker here.
Oh, lovely.
Ooh, that's good, isn't it?
That's
Actually,
really good.
Really good.
Is that done by AI? That art?
It's painted and then it's augmented digitally by a colleague of his who's sort of added things to it around the side. But it is hand painted. It's moody and it's broody, a bit like Barnaby Jago, but obviously not in the same league. Barnaby, not in the same league.
It's captured Colin's version of the Doctor beautifully. The lighting was just right. Colin's Doctor always looked very sort of mysterious in that up lighting. It's a shame they didn't do more of that in his series. I'm really impressed by that, Al. That's fantastic.
That is beautiful. It really is.
You know, BBC budget, innit? They just lit it flat, didn't they?
It's just very simple and effective. That is. It's very, very.
It just captures the Sixth Doctor beautifully.
Yeah.
Beautifully.
Yeah, very good.
Always nice to see new pieces from Alistair, isn't it, Simon?
Yeah. Well, he's been kicking around long enough, hasn't he? Bless him. He's been going. I can still remember him marching around at conventions in his little round rose-coloured glasses.
Yes.
He, with his entourage trailing behind him. Still
And his folder. Do you remember his black folder?
His folder, yeah. His folder.
All his work in it. Oh, it was fantastic.
Stunning. It's going down very well in the live chat, of course.
And I've just got to answer. I can see that Jack Thursby has commented in the chat that my TARDIS has vanished. My TARDIS has vanished because I just wanted to bring it out and show everybody. Here's my little TARDIS.
Beautiful.
I press the little button at the bottom, it lights up. Let me turn off the light so you can see. It lights up.
Wow.
Ooh,
Oh, that's cool.
like a little disco's going on inside the TARDIS.
I'm expecting
I
David
guess
Tennant
again,
to stick
I'd like
out
to
of it.
mention they're available now from the Who Shop.
Ooh,
Talking about the
Go on, JT,
TARDIS,
sell it.
yeah, the TARDIS is getting new occupants, Ncuti Gatwa and Millie Gibson, the 15th Doctor, and Ruby. And they're getting fan art already too. This one comes from Stephen Byrne. I really like this. A mixture of traditional comic book art, again, augmented digitally. Obviously, we know very little about the characters they're going to be playing yet. We don't even know what they're going to be wearing. But this captures, I think, the flavour, the mood of current Doctor Who as we look forward to whatever's going to come in the future.
Ooh. Ooh. That's like another animation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I like those vibes.
Oh, I love that background, that the orange and the bright light, and
Look at his eye. The way that's being painted, that's
the red.
Yeah. Quite atmospheric there, Stephen. Congratulations.
Fury of
He's wearing a
Atonement.
shirt, so Ian will be happy.
If Millie's eye wasn't blue in that one, I'd love to think that was him seeing Gallifrey.
Yeah, that would have been
That'd have been great.
Yeah, Gallifrey's back.
Gallifrey's
I
back.
hope not. I hope not. Blink. Go.
Blink and you'll miss it. It'll be gone again if they do. Yeah, great artwork there from Stephen. And I'm sure that we will find out sooner rather than later what they're going to be wearing. And no doubt the fan art will come thick and fast for the 15th Doctor and Ruby, going backwards further in time. And to an artist we've spoken about before. And sorry if you're watching, Rainey, I do try, but Rainey Schramska is a noted fan artist. She does a lot of work based around British sci-fi shows such as Blake 7 as well. But she's a big Doctor Who fan too. And I really love this one. It's based on a Doctor Who book, part of the Past Doctors range from BBC books in the 90s called The Roundheads. That featured the second Doctor and Jamie. And Rainey has tried to capture a moment from that, particularly Christmassy moment here for the Doctor.
Oh, yes.
I like that. Lovely.
Very nice illustration there.
But it's good. It's lovely.
Well, I think
It's like Christmas cards.
I think it depends who's most drunk, though, doesn't it, Ian?
They both absolutely plastered on that, but in the best possible way.
It'll be Jamie. He can hold his drink. He's a Scot. Can have drink a Gallifrey at any time.
So yeah, another fantastic piece of artwork there from Rainey that really captures those two characters. It's a sort of caricature stroke illustration, but I like the fact there's a snow in the air, and the Doctor does look a little bit worse for wear. Finally, though, I had to close with this one, Shah. This is again from noted Doctor Who artist and painter Daryl Joyce. And this sums up, again, the spirit of Christmas, the spirit of Doctor Who. And if this isn't your Christmas card, Daryl, I think you're really missing the trick. It's absolutely gorgeous piece.
Oh, yeah.
That's a Christmas card, isn't it?
Yes,
It's definitely a Christmas card.
Is
Yeah.
that
You like that one, Ian?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. It'd be, as I said, it'd be great on a Christmas card, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Good. Merry Christmas from Gallifrey or something like that. Yeah, cool.
It reminds me of Revelation of the Daleks. Even though that's the Tom Baker scarf there, it just reminds me of if the Sixth Doctor was there in that blue cloak with Perry stood next to him. But yeah, I do love the fact that the snowman's got the scarf.
The reflection in the icy lake as well. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Sorry, you already answered. Is that part watercolor?
It's completely digital. I understand this.
It does look like it's imitation painting, doesn't it?
Beautiful.
I think Daryl has been working all year on a series of paintings from every single Doctor Who story. I think he tasks himself to do one every couple of days, and I think it's just to sort of flex his muscles a little, and to because obviously he's a traditional artist, so I think he's very much getting to grips with the digital side to it. I have asked Daryl to come on the show, but he's quite a shy guy, so I don't think he's going to. But Daryl, we do love your work. Yeah. I do think you're one of the best. Actually, I think you're one of the best illustrators out there. Never mind a Doctor Who illustrator, but a fantasy artist and a master of many mediums. He seems to be able to evoke these stories really well, but without slavishly sticking to what's on screen, Simon. He gives it that little bit, kind of how Chris Achilleos and Colin Howard did on book covers and VHS covers. I think Daryl has that graphic sense about his work.
Yeah, it's a different interpretation, isn't it? It is absolutely fantastic, that the depth in it, because it's also quite subtle. It's not really very in your face. People you could put those on sale in a shop, and people wouldn't even clock that it was a Doctor Who
no, probably not.
card. Do you know what I mean? It's I think we'd
all buy it. Yeah, we'd all buy them.
I think we'd all buy those as Christmas cards.
And even Java Bean is happy because it's got the correct lamp on the
Yeah.
I like the snowman.
Yeah, the snowman's very cool.
I want that.
Yeah, we all want
it. You ain't getting it.
I want it.
You need to put that on your website for next year, maybe, Daryl.
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure.
we do love your artwork. And I think he's quite a shy guy. Maybe he'll talk to us one day. Maybe if we offer him one of these, Ian. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely a jam. I love jam tarts. You know, I really do. I tell you, cup of tea and jam tarts. You're laughing, mate.
I miss a cup of tea. There's not actually like proper tea.
No, they don't do tea in America. They're very odd.
I've not had a proper cup of tea. Like,
it's difficult. Yeah, you can't get one at all. It's ridiculous.
The problem is,
how long have you been there now?
How
long have you been there now, Shah? And when do you come back?
So I'm back on the 20th. No, I'm not. I'm back on the 19th, and then on the 27th, I'm going to Paris because I met this Canadian girl here, and we said let's go to Paris afterwards. So she's flying back to London with me, and we're going to go Paris.
Wow,
fantastic!
The
jet set lifestyle, love it.
Why not? No, we're going on the train. I'm not flying to Paris. Be a waste of I won't even get into that. I'm going on the train.
Darren Evan, he likes the artwork from Daryl there. It's very nice. A more detailed Bob Ross with TARDIS.
Bob Ross.
Jack Thursby says, "Dear Santa, I want a Type 40 mug." I guarantee next year, Type 40 mugs, you will be able to order Type 40 mugs. I am sorting it out. It will
happen.
Give
me all to loan you. Yeah.
Well, hold on.
Yes, and fantastic pictures. And keep an eye out for Doctor Who fan artists. If you are a fan artist and you'd like us to showcase your work, by all means, send it to us. You can get in touch with us through our social
media.
You can get in touch with us through our social media.
You haven't been drinking that?
Instagram and Twitter. I've had
Do you know what, Dan? Right, every week you mention pictures, but you never mention that my artistry with the jam tarts and
that took him minutes.
Exactly. Look, there's the TARDIS that I shot. Look at that. That is art.
Exquisite, my friend. Absolutely exquisite. If you'd like to compliment Ian for his Jaffa cakes there, you know how to do it. Get in touch with us through our social media, Instagram and Twitter at Type 40 Doctor Who. While we're away, you can stay in touch with us in real time if you join the Type 40 Facebook group. You know how that works. Go to Facebook. If you're not a member, why not? Get a Facebook account anyway, just to join our group. You can type Type 40 into the search field, and you can take your pick. There's the Type 40 Facebook group and the Type 40 Doctor Who Blu-ray and DVD collectors group for those who want to go deep dive on the physical media. We've got it all covered there on Facebook too. So, the fan art, if you're an artist, we'd love to see your work.
We've
give you our
jam
honest
tarts,
opinions.
Jaffa cakes.
Yeah.
Maybe custard creams next time. Who knows?
Dodgy apples.
Before we go, Dan, can I just plug something really quick?
No.
Good minute.
Are you called Dan? No.
Slap. Take that.
What are you plugging, kid? Come on.
My little Doctor Who Christmas special, Paul, that's on Twitter.
Yes.
There's 1 day left. And I really need some help because there's a 3-way tie at the minute. So it is between Voyage of the Damned, End of Time Part 2, and A Christmas Carol. Yes. And it's currently sat at 34%, 33%, 33%.
No way.
Really?
Yeah, we've seen it so close.
Go over there. You can brave Twitter, connect with starry-eyed girl Sarah Graham herself, and take part in her poll. The idea is you've been trying to whittle it down, haven't you, to the ultimate Doctor Who Christmas special?
Yes, we're
to
now on round 4, and then every winner from each round will go into a final battle. I got inspired by the World Cup, so I thought I'll just do it with Doctor Who Christmas specials.
Well, I'm not on Twitter, so I can't vote. But I would vote for Voyage of the Damned. You can put me down as a Voyage of the Damned vote.
Thank you,
but that's going to win.
There you go.
That's definitely going to win.
Oh, I don't know, because I'm looking at it right now. Sarah, you're quite right. 149 votes. It's Voyage of the Damned's got 34%, and End of Time Part 2 and A Christmas Carol got 33% still.
It's so cool. I'm really excited about it. One, I was excited just for making a poll on Twitter, and then the fact that people engage with it, and now it's got so close. So I'm just like looking at it every day, going, "Ooh."
Well, when we do get an answer, when we do get an answer, we'll have to cover it in some way. So stay tuned to all the Type 40 social media too. And obviously, go and follow Sarah on Twitter and give her a nudge. Nudge that poll in whichever direction. Vote with your heart.
Please don't nudge Sarah. It's very sensitive.
I think, Hadley's flagging. Okay.
What a year, though. What a year we've had.
A fabulous year. I want to say, first of all, huge thanks sincere thanks to our mate JJ and the hooligans over at Avenue Who. Merry Christmas to all of you there. I can't imagine what it's like, JJ, keeping all of them in line on Christmas morning when you've got to unwrap the old presents. It must be absolute chaos. Rather you than me, my friend. But hopefully, more from JJ next year. Go and follow him on Twitter and subscribe to his YouTube channel too, Avenue Who. That's where you can see lots of quizzes and sketches and all manner of other things that the hooligans all get up to when JJ's not looking. Obviously, that's us wrapped up for 2022, but we're about to hit the 60th anniversary year of Doctor Who. We know very little, as David Tennant said in that quote. We know so little about what's coming, but I can't wait to find out more. Very excited, very adrenalized, very hyped up by the possibilities for Doctor Who, Shah, where we could be this time next year. How do you feel about it all?
I'm really excited, but I'm not one of these where I'm like, I need to know loads of information.
Yeah.
When it comes, I'll watch it, and I'll be so happy to watch it. And hopefully it'll be one of those where we can come on here and talk about how amazing it is and how I feel like it's back and feeling all nice, warm and fuzzy. That'd be great. Fingers crossed, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
That's all we can hope, isn't it? That's all we can hope. It's been a real sleigh ride for us over the last 24 editions of Type 40 Live, our longest season to date. When it began, believe it or not, Simon, we were celebrating Her Majesty the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Yeah. And now we are, less than 6 months on, still kind of in mourning as a nation, anticipating a coronation next year. It seems like such a long time ago in some ways, doesn't it? But it's Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for all your comments, likes, shares, those dislikes, because there's always one. Merry Christmas to our disliker.
Merry Christmas,
Thank you for all of that, and thank you for the subscriptions. Type 40 and Type 40 Live continue to evolve. We've got lots of ideas and plans to level up yet again, once again, next season. But,
and you don't know what's going to happen over Christmas either, so make sure you subscribe, because you just don't know what can happen on this channel.
Anything.
Stay tuned. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what's coming next and when it's coming, because Type 40 Live may be disappearing, but Doctor Who content will continue over the Christmas and New Year break. Couple of surprises coming your way. Thanks as always, Simon. Hope you've enjoyed yourself this evening.
Absolutely, thank you.
Ian, always a pleasure, my friend. remind people where they can find your material on YouTube over Christmas and New Year, because there's not much on telly, is there? They could do some entertainment, some movies and web series.
They can watch the web series, the Rebecca Gold web series, which is on my YouTube channel. Just type it in.
I
and you'll
have been
find
watching it at night, by the way, Ian, and it is brilliant. So make sure you watch.
There you go. What more can I say?
There you go. Watch it before bed.
Proper endorsement there.
Not that it says to sleep.
JT, heaven knows what's on your Christmas list there from Merchandise Paradise. I bet it's a rolling list.
Not really. But I would like to say to timescales, thank you for that little comment there. That's lovely. No, I'm going to be playing with my kaplunk all through the festive period. Yes.
Are you
Say no more.
going, JT? All right.
I'm going clubbing in a minute as well.
Don't lose those marbles, mate. Otherwise, you won't be able to play it.
No, you got your marbles, haven't you, Ian? Yes.
Thank you, everybody. All the comments. Lots of Merry Christmases coming from the live chats. Thank you for all of that. Yes, Sarah, you've got your poll you're running. Shaw, obviously, Merry Christmas, safe journey home, and then off to wherever you're going to next week. It's been lovely to catch up with you again.
Simon's.
You can go to Coney Islands. Go to Coney Islands. It's really cool.
Love it.
Yeah, I've got loads of places I want to go. So.
Yeah, but that's it. We always have the time. If you have the space here at Type 40 Live, we'll see you in the
2023.
Christmas, everyone.
See you tomorrow.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Speak to you all again soon. Bye bye. Bye bye.